Okay, let's get started.
Just raise your glasses high. This one's sweet turtle time.
Amy.
Riley.
Okay. Well, when you hear us say each other's names like that, it means that it's officially turtle time.
That's right.
Um,
Did you get a haircut?
I did.
It looks nice.
Really?
BravoCon haircut?
Yeah. I didn't want people to see me with an old haircut. When they saw me.
Bedraggled.
Bedraggled. I didn't want to look like how I used to look right before the haircut. Did you just notice now, or do you want to?
I noticed earlier, and then I didn't mention it at first, and then I was like, I'll wait, and then everyone will know.
That's sweet. Yeah, please. If you want to get a little look at what's going on with my hair, please look on YouTube.
Yeah, subscribe,
That would be awesome.
comment, review.
Yeah. Do you think it's okay for the BravoCon audience?
Your haircut?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for if someone wants to like do a shot with us, you think they'll know who I am
Yeah.
still?
Are you going to wear a hat
That
or
says
show off your haircut?
I'm gonna say, you
Both?
know what? I'm probably gonna do both.
Yeah.
A hat. What about you?
Yeah, I guess I'll bring all of my Bravo hats. I have our Grigio girl hat. I have Pump, Sir, and Schwartz and Sandy's.
Okay. So you think you might be wearing a hat?
Maybe.
Okay. Do you think we'll be recognizable if there's any little turtle cuties out in the wild, like you and
Hope
I?
they spot us.
Do you?
Run over.
Would you, if a little turtle cutie hypothetically wanted to party with us, would you chug a beer with them? Or whatever.
Pinot
you want.
Grigio?
Yeah, Pinot Grigio.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's nice.
We're bringing the shot ski.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
How are we just gonna strap that to our back and walk around with it?
I know. Maybe we should fashion a strap.
That'd be kind of fun.
Like have it on each end with a strap.
That I think we would look, I don't know, cool.
Yeah.
Right with that.
I mean, I think we could make it just with like ribbon.
What do you mean?
Like just tie it and then like leave slack and put it across body.
Okay. Yeah.
Like a bow and arrow.
Okay. Yeah, I think that would be good. Well, are you excited for BravoCon?
I'm kind of afraid.
Me too. I'm so afraid of my expectations for it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have like this. I think I have too high of expectations. I'm a little worried. Like we were talking about line culture and like waiting in lines and stuff. And if it's just like you and I are like in the summer house or whatever that like summer
Charm House Rules
panel, and we're like last in line, and it's like you wait like 3 hours to get into it,
Yeah.
and then like you can't even get in. I'll be like, oh my god,
Yeah.
this was a rough BravoCon experience.
My expectations are very low.
They are.
Yeah. I'm just like, I have no expectations. I'm just going to show up.
Do you think that epitomizes you and I's outlook on life?
Maybe.
So you have low expectations. Maybe I should lower mine.
Yeah, it's fun down here.
It is, because then you never get hurt.
Right.
Whereas for me, I'm always constantly hurt and brought down by real life.
Yeah, if you're not vulnerable, no one can hurt you.
Wow. Oh my God, that's beautiful. The thing that makes me really worried is that like I heard that last year's BravoCon, no offense to Bravo and BravoCon, but I heard that it was like a little mini like Fire Fest.
Yeah.
And then I saw that video that I showed you where it was like, never forget when the crowd at BravoCon thought that Dorit Kemsley was around the corner, and it showed like everyone abandoning the line and running full force to go get a glimpse of Dorit Kemsley.
I couldn't believe that.
Was that real?
I don't know. I feel like it could have been, I don't know.
Like we're waiting in line for something.
Right.
Yeah, because it's the Dorit. It being Dorit is
it was like beyond
funny.
Beyonce level.
Right.
There's no way.
Yeah, I think I mean, it would be so funny if it was, but I don't think that was true. But I think this will be much more well managed. Obviously, if Fire Fest was going to happen again, they would put on a much better show, and the same for BravoCon.
Yeah, Vegas is built for this sort of thing, so hopefully they know what they're doing.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, conventions.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
They
for sure.
do it all day long.
For sure. I was just thinking I've never waited in line for anything, but you're right. Conventions are definitely
on Watch What Happens Live last night. They were talking about the bunny, the Kim Richards, Lisa Rinna bunny.
Yeah.
And Teddi Mellencamp was like, "Where is it? Like, it's not in here." And Andy was like, "Oh, it's already at BravoCon." So they're getting all set up.
I mean, that's amazing. Did you think it was odd when Teddi asked Andy where Ryan's iconic dick pic hat was at.
Andy hated that.
I thought at
He
first,
got mad.
I know. At first, I thought Teddi was sliding Ryan's dick pic hat.
Well, I think Andy was confused because at first it was very confusing the way she was saying something about a dick pic, and then she goes, I guess she was talking about the hat, but it kind of sounded like, "Where's your dick pic, Andy?" or something. Like
Yeah,
it was confusing, and he was like, the look on his face was one of disgust.
He was disgusted anytime Teddi said anything.
Why did they even have them on together?
I think someone said that Kyle demands that, she has a supportive friend there.
He was like ready for her to shut the fuck up every time she spoke.
But I thought it was, I don't know. I'm not a Teddi hater, and I don't really feel the way that most people. I think she's overhated for some reason.
Yeah.
So every time Andy looked at her like she was garbage on his set, I just thought it was really mean.
If anything, that makes me wonder what's going on with her. What does he know?
I think maybe he doesn't like people that were forsaken by the Bravo system and then comment on it, like Bethany and stuff. And so the fact that Teddi has now aligned herself as she's commenting on everything, and maybe he just resents the things she says about everyone, knowing that she's spurned,
right?
And so she feels like she can do whatever she wants. I mean, it seem like her takes on everything are really off,
right?
And so many people do hate her, actual cast members. So maybe I'm just wrong,
right? I mean, it is a little bit I thought she was a flop housewife, but it's also interesting that on the show itself, she was kind of just flop energy, but then outside of the show she says the most bold things.
Yeah.
She accused Sutton of carrying vodka around in her bag, and what was the other, there was one major shade thing that she said.
I forget one of them.
We'll get to that, but I don't know, I'm just where was this energy before?
I think she knows now that she needs to be more vibrant.
Yeah.
If she ever has the potential to be still in the Bravo space.
I
But
mean, you can't love that she has partnered for life with Tamra.
no, personally, I don't understand that connection at all. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I got to rewatch all of Teddi's scenes and try to understand.
No, you don't.
Really? Well, the seasons that she was on, she was
No,
on for 4 seasons, right?
I don't
4 or 5.
want that for you.
Okay, damn. All right. Well, okay. So maybe the world is right on Teddi and I'm just wrong, but I still think Andy's disgust, actual disgust at everything she said was a little
Over the
too
top
much for me.
Yeah. Sometimes Andy really can't hide what he's thinking.
When she said that, "Where's your dick pic hat?" as if it was an iconic, legendary thing. Is that what she meant? That it was iconic and it should be?
Yes. And
Because-
then he was and then he was it's in the control room. I was like,
but then I'm like, wait, I feel that way about that shitty dick pic hat.
Yeah.
So maybe I should like that Andy said that.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was very, I was confused as to how to feel in his interactions with Teddi.
Right. Well, he also loves Kyle. So in comparison, it was very clear. I also loved, we're going to talk about this, the Watch What Happens a little bit it's news up front, but then we'll talk about it in conjunction with Beverly Hills later.
Right.
But I think my favorite part was he kept asking Lisa Vanderpump questions because obviously Kyle was super close with her, and then Teddi's the reason that all that shit went down, whatever. And they said that the last time that they were out, Kyle sent a bottle of wine to Lisa's table because they were at the same restaurant, and Lisa sent it back.
Amazing.
And then another time, Lisa sent her dinner bill to Kyle's table and left. And they were LOL, so shady. Teddi was that was fucked up. And Andy was that's hilarious. He was she's being cheeky.
Right.
And Kyle was isn't it always cheeky with Lisa?
Yeah. To be at that restaurant and to have seen Lisa do that would have been one of the coolest things in the world.
Is that just the wait staff will just let you do that? You're just send them my bill. Bye.
I was just going to say, I would love to do that.
Yeah.
I think they allow it. I think as long as you know who the person is and you can state their name, you can give them your bill.
I just usually it's the opposite. You say like, hey, like to that table, I'm going to pay their bill.
Right.
But saying send my bill
That
over
was-
there.
Yeah, it was nice to see that this feud is still simmering between.
It was probably,
LVP.
yeah, they didn't say where it was, but maybe it's a place that they both go to like all the time,
Right.
you know? So like they know each, like whatever.
I was surprised that Lisa's going to be at BravoCon. I didn't
Yeah.
see her on the official list.
Oh,
We might
okay.
get to see Lisa
That'd be
running
fun.
around.
I mean, Vanderpump Au Paris should do something special. I don't think that Erica Jane's doing a show that weekend,
Oh, she's not.
which I mean, I guess she'll be busy, but that also seems like idiotic to not. It would be sold out every single night.
Well, are we going to be too busy to be doing extra curricular?
Are
we
you
gonna be
okay?
too busy to do? Are we going to be too busy to do stuff outside of the BravoCon sanctioned events? Like, why would we?
Probably, but it just. I think it would be. It would definitely sell out. Don't you think?
Yeah. Well, I guess I don't. I just feel like there's going to be so much for people to do that weekend that I guess.
But
I
like
don't know,
people from all over the country are flying to Vegas, and one of the housewives has a full-on review show. Like everyone would of course go to that.
Yeah, I guess.
Or
you're
maybe
right.
she wasn't allowed to do it because it's not like the Bethany clause. They're like, you're booked with us this weekend. You're not allowed to do a show that we don't profit off of that weekend.
Yeah, I
you know?
really don't know. Yeah, I mean maybe because if you think about it, imagine how many Bravo celebrities would schedule their own events outside of the Bravo system to
Yeah.
maximize. How many people would come to an event
Yeah,
because we're all Bravo
remember
fans.
that's what Candy said about like Chocolate City or whatever it was called.
It's like, go
She
to-
was like, if you are gonna do it during BravoCon.
right, like
which,
a little bit of business advice.
Yeah,
Yeah, so you're right. Maybe Bravo just says you can't do outside stuff this weekend. We want all eyes and focus on our sanctioned events.
Yeah.
So Kyle can't host like a Loverboy event at Total Wines
Right.
outside of, just outside of Bravo After Dark.
he should do that on like Thursday.
Right.
Be smart.
Be smart, Kyle. Well, we know he's smart, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was great on his Watch What Happens.
Yeah, he was great.
Andy clearly loves him.
yes,
Actually,
he loves him so much. And I had never known Brian
yeah,
Benny before. That's his name, Brian
yeah,
Benny.
they were fun together. He, yeah, I have goodwill towards him.
Had you known him? Do you have experience?
I haven't
with him?
watched Family Karma.
Okay, so
Yeah.
your only experience with him is what mine is.
Yeah,
Oh, he was great.
yeah, especially compared to that Alex guy.
Oh, you don't like Alex?
I'm terrified of him.
Why?
Seems like he's capable of dark things.
Oh my God. Well, we'll talk about that during Winter House, so stay tuned with us. Well, so anything to talk about that Watch What Happens Live that was sort of explosive in people's minds, the Kyle Richards and Teddi?
I mean, Kyle really bared her soul there.
Mm-hmm.
Andy forced her, he asked very upfront questions and she chose to answer them, which I respect, and she was kind of saying like, oh my God, Andy, why are you doing this to me? But it also felt like she was ready to have the floor. Like she knew coming in that she was going to have to answer those things, but she was like not really evasive. She kind of, said things straight up.
Right. So in the interim since last week's Turtle Time, Mauricio and his dance partner, her name's Emma Slater, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is she a fixture of Dancing with the Stars? Do you know?
I'm not sure, but I think most of them have been on for a while.
Like they're all like dancing talent on that
Yeah.
show. Yeah, so people think that because Mauricio and Emma went to a sushi restaurant after one of their rehearsals, I guess. And it
Sushi
was-
sounds good.
Sushi does right now?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let's
I was
order
like,
it.
sushi.
If I pause this now, we put in an Uber Eats sushi order, we would get it.
Sugarfish.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Could you imagine if we were eating sugarfish while we did this?
We're like,
that. Well, but then I read. Oh God, it's so hard to keep up with this shit. But page 6 said that like people saw them like kissing at dinner. But then anyway. So okay. So then it was like everyone heard that Mauricio and Emma were possibly starting something romantic because they were holding hands outside of sushi dinner.
Yeah.
So then Kyle Richards saw the news just like all of us.
Yeah.
She's just like us.
yeah.
And she deleted her post supporting Mauricio on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
So sort of fueling the reality of this, that she
Right.
thinks it's real.
Yeah. She did confirm, though, that she still voted for him and sent her family chat the screenshot of her votes. So
So that
that's what really counts.
So that, oh yeah, right, good. Okay, so he's got one vote. Wow, she's not voting for Ariana.
Guess not.
Damn.
Have you voted?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Every
I'm
week.
gonna set up. She keeps Ariana keeps posting that her new boyfriend has set up one of those iPhone hacks that like
That's illegal. That's illegal. The Dancing with the Stars judge, I saw him. He did a PSA. He said, if any of you are doing one of those AI hacking things
no.
that auto generates votes, you're going to be disbarred.
Oh my God,
He's
not
gonna-
disbarred.
Yeah.
I mean, what does that man even do? Can we one day we need to once and for all talk about her new boyfriend and what his deal is?
I don't think the world and our little turtle cuties are ready for us to be fully honest yet. Amy and I operate on a full 90% truthfulness, and that's the standard we will always adhere to. But that 10%, we can never let people into our psyche.
Okay.
Wait, was that it about?
For Kyle, okay, the main bullet points
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
say are Kyle said that she is the one who originated the separation. Like, she's the one that requested it first. They're still living under the same roof, Scandival style. She let him keep the primary bedroom. She said that Morgan Wade is one of her very best friends alongside Teddi, like they're a group.
Whoa.
She said that they all wake up at like 4 a.m. to work out, so they text each other every day, and
Do
that's
you
why
like
they're close.
the idea of that group?
No. Awful.
Okay. Can I just do
Snooze.
Can I do a quick hypothetical?
Yeah.
If Kyle texted us and said, I'm creating a gang of people, I need 2 new members, vibrant 2
Yeah.
new members, because Morgan and Teddy are like the sleepy entries.
Yeah.
I need 2 vibrant people to
Okay.
join. Amy and Riley, would you join us? Would you be a part of it?
I would say, can you guys get up even earlier, like 2 a.m., and then I'll still be awake, and I
Whoa.
can text you guys for like 10 minutes, and then I'll go to bed, and you guys can start your day.
Wait, do they wait? Okay, hold on. Do they work out really early?
Yeah.
So you wouldn't be there for the workout part. You'd text
No, you
them
guys
and
say good morning, and I would say good night, and I'd be like, I'm on TikTok, and then they could go to Runyon or whatever they do, and then I'll go to sleep until like noon.
So it'd be like there'd be a Venn diagram of when you're active within their social circle.
Yeah.
But what about during the day? You wouldn't want to participate in anything they do?
Well, they probably go to bed at like 6 o'clock.
6
you know?
p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, whatever. I
They
mean,
do like newscaster hours.
what's that? Like 4 a.m. to 6 p.m.?
Yeah.
You think Cal's in bed at 6?
Maybe that's why her marriage flopped, because Mauricio likes the nightlife. He likes to salsa after dark.
Yeah, he is a nightlife guy.
I mean, we'll get to it later, but like the part when he's going over his schedule and he's like, Coachella, like da da da, like he's like really busy with fun activities.
Yeah. Did that read to you as real?
Fake. Yeah,
It read to you as real.
that's fake.
Oh, it's giving fake.
Like I was like, is there anyone on the other line?
Right. It the way he was so performative in the way he was talking to Jane,
Yes.
this Jane person, that it just seemed, and also the scene started right with Kyle being ready to have her conversation.
Yeah.
And right when he got on the phone with Jane. So it was like, you obviously knew with a call time or whatever that you're
Right.
scheduled to meet now. So it's supposed to be an embodiment of how distant they are, but
Yeah.
it felt like he was really trying to make a meal out of going over his schedule with Jane.
I know. That's the thing that I'm disappointed about with them in general, is that I always liked them and it always felt natural and pretty like effortless. And, you know, it just felt like if you were to go to that house at any time, they would just be like hanging out and like with the kids and whatever. And everyone else had all their shit and Kyle had her family shit, but it felt like within the house shit was fine. And now there's just like a nasty like tabloid sheen on them that I don't enjoy.
When did that nasty sheen start to gloss over them?
This year
Really?
with all this shit. Like,
So and you were saying like you were really disappointed in Mauricio once he did that like Fantasia dance, once he started Dancing with the Stars, right? Like that sort of,
yeah, it's just like, what are you looking for? You know?
what do you need?
Yeah. Like, I understand, like, in Ariana, it's like, why wouldn't she do that? Like,
And she was a fan of it, I think.
sure. And it's like, she is literally a reality star, and, you know, the money is probably good for her. She, you know, whatever. Like, what else does she have going on? That's not an insult. I'm just saying, like, she's a public figure, whatever. I'm like, Mauricio has like a real job, and I feel like he just keeps. He did that spin-off show, and then now he's doing this, and I'm just like, why? You know what I mean? It's giving like midlife crisis.
You think?
Yes. But he also just looks tired and sad, like on the new episode. Like, it just feels like not enjoyable to watch.
Him and her.
Yeah, together was bleak, I thought.
Okay. Well, yeah, we'll get into it.
Okay, and then let's see. One of Andy's questions to Kyle was, everyone keeps bringing up the Alison Dubois
right.
dinner party from hell or whatever. And she's like, I really think that she was picking up on Camille's marriage because Camille wasn't telling the truth about that yet. And she's like, everyone always forgets that that since Kyle, remember, like the last remark she makes is like, have you been married before? And she said yes. And she's like, okay, well, 2 marriages is it for you? And that was her prediction. So either she's going to somehow make it work with Mauricio or she'll never get married again, according to Alison Dubois.
But what did she mean that Camille had such a huge cloud of that emotional non-fulfillment from Kelsey Grammer that Allison couldn't help but take a huge whiff of what Camille was wafting?
Exactly.
Is that what she meant?
Yes.
So she's not only saying that she's not saying that Allison was wrong in any way,
Right.
but just that Camille
She had the wrong woman.
had such a stench of emotional unfulfillment from Kelsey Grammer. But was that true? Camille was emotionally unfulfilled by Kelsey?
Certainly.
Why?
They were living completely separate lives. Remember, he like on the first episode was like, bye, honey, and like drives away and never comes back. He's like, enjoy. Oh my God. Remember his confessionals?
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
the good shit. That show, I gotta say.
What was he saying in his confessionals? Was he the one who...
He was wearing like a Jax sweater, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And he'd be like, like she's just looking for her own thing, and I think it's great for her, and I'm going to be on Broadway. Goodbye.
Yeah. Was he the one of their confessionals, it was either him or David Foster, was like talking about them as a housewife and like saying their housewife duties as if they thought that the show was really literally about what housewives do when they're like at home.
Yeah.
I think it was, I don't know. I think that was maybe Kelsey Grammer. Like he had such a misreading of what these
Oh my
franchises
God.
are about.
That shit is the bomb. And then when she goes to the Tonys, remember?
Yeah.
And she is asking him what she should wear, and he has like very specific opinions, and then she chooses a different dress, and then they're in the limo not speaking, and they each exit on opposite sides of the cab, and it's like amazing.
Or when she goes to greet him in his dressing room after the show, and he looks like he's miserable to be greeted by her.
At La Caja Fall.
Was that what it was?
Yeah.
What's that?
It's a musical about, I think it's like, I might be wrong, but like it's like drag queens, I think, or something. And so that played into when she made all of those sassy remarks. Remember when she was like, and when I found out he was cheating on me, I just prayed it was a woman. And then she implied that he wore like women's underwear, remember?
She did?
Yeah, she would just like throw digs.
How did she imply that subtly?
I forget. It was like, she basically was like, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
You know?
Do you like Camille?
I mean, she's insane.
Yeah.
But those early seasons were thebomb.com.
Yeah, definitely thebomb.com. She was really villainized after that first season. You remember when Andy just unleashes like all of the horrible things that people said about her after the
She's
first...
pernicious.
They said that?
She's pernicious.
Who said that?
Camille said that about Kyle, I think.
Oh, okay.
Remember, she'd always just like use her vocabulary. Anyways, she was just, it was just really fun.
She's coming back this season, right?
Good question.
Was she
in the
with
preview?
Denise when they come in the room?
Was it the two of them?
Well,
Faye.
Kim is already there. Faye is already there.
Okay.
And then I think Denise and Camille walk in together.
Okay. I'm interested. I have an important question to ask you that Andy asked Kyle and Dorit. Would you rather be called morally corrupt or a slut pig?
I heard them get asked this question, and I had a very clear answer last night of which I would rather be. I'd probably rather be called a slut pig because I know it's a little silly and morally corrupt. There's a lot more weight to that, and I don't want to be morally corrupt.
Doesn't get worse than that.
Right.
Slut pig for sure for me.
Really?
I would love to be called a slut pig.
Did they both say they wanted to be slut pigs?
I think so.
Wow.
Yeah. Was it Kim said that to Brandy?
Yeah, I think so.
Slut pig at the game night when they hide her crutches.
Yes, I think so. I'm pretty sure.
We should make hats that say slut pig.
Would you like that?
Do you think people would get mad? Is that inappropriate?
I
like
think so. Yeah, I wouldn't. Even though I would prefer to be called a slut pig, I don't know how much I want to celebrate that statement. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, maybe I'll do it on my own Etsy shop
I'm
on the
sorry.
side.
No, wait, no, it could be Turtle Time merch.
I'm going to cut you out of the profits.
Oh, damn. And I'm like, God, this is the best seller in the world. Why was I morally objectionable? All right.
All right. Well, yeah, they said one of the questions was I'm just going through because I feel like this is all important information.
Right.
They said, do you think that without Lucy Juicy, Apple Juicy, whatever the fuck her name was, the dog, that Kyle would still be friends with LVP? And she said, no, it probably would have just been something else. It was always going to be something.
Which is true.
Yeah, totally. She was like, it was basically like they outgrew their friendship of like Kyle being the underling, you know?
Even though Kyle was very honest in this interview, like, and I was, astounded and blown away. It was very easy for her to be honest about all this stuff.
Right.
It's
nothing to lose, really.
Nothing to lose.
Yeah.
You suspected your husband was holding hands with his dance partner and you didn't want to support Dancing with the Stars.
Right.
It's easy to be honest about. I mean, I'm not like trying to discount her. I'm just saying it's like this wasn't so I don't know. I guess it's nice. Honesty is always nice, but also it's like she's on the right side of everything. Like no one really would blame her for being honest about any of these questions.
Right. It's like she hasn't really had the platform to answer questions like, are you guys still living together? Are you sleeping in the same room? Like da 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 da. Like where would she be talking about that? Like on Instagram, you know?
Yeah.
So and I thought Andy did it with Grace, who was like kind. He wasn't being too like salacious, you know?
Yeah.
Like he was like, I can't believe I'm even asking you this right now. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He did though. I'm thinking of Bethany Frankel right now. I know I shouldn't be, but I was pretty sure of myself that Andy doesn't specifically, or the Watch What Happens Live staff doesn't specifically ask questions about like hot or not or attractiveness or whatever. And then the two examples of all things this week, like first of all, one of them was like, is Dorit's brown hair hot or not? And I was like, damn, like, like I don't know. I mean, I know that it's like hair color, so it's not that bad, but still, it's like, no, like imagine just being Dorit and you're like, oh damn, no one
liked
thinks
her hair.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I was fine with it. I didn't really have strong opinions, but I just thought like, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of merit to like, does she look good with that hair or not?
Well, the Erica Jane one was worse.
Yeah, no, yeah, I was just getting that. Yeah, so yeah, and Erica Jane says I specifically did not want to answer that question. Like, she said, I did not want to answer. They roll the tape, it's there, and then she has to make a salacious thing. She says, I did what the audience wanted, which is so true. It's like she was primed for that. The audience was booing her to make her say something provocative, and then it leads to drama with her Dorit. So I was like, okay. I mean,
well, I feel like didn't they also, wasn't one of the Teddi and Kyle questions about Erica's weight loss? Weren't they like, what do you think about do you believe that she's not on Ozempic?
Everything was no.
Right. Like, and Teddi started out by saying like, we shouldn't be commenting on women's bodies. She's like, that said, everybody's doing something, which whatever.
Is that the same though? Is questioning, I mean, just because like we almost assume everyone is on Ozempic in the Bravo universe that has had rapid weight loss. I mean, I don't know if is that the same as like questioning someone's attractiveness? I
mean, no, it's just weird. Like, it's such a weird area of like, because I'm like, I don't give a fuck if you guys are on Ozempic. It's just weird to lie about it if you're lying about it. But then on the same token, it's like, okay, so if it's a hormone thing, then maybe she's just found like a different avenue that like soon the women will all find out about, and it'll just be a different version of it. So then who cares?
But why, even if she's saying it's hormones, like is she saying she's injected with hormones?
Yeah, I think there's like a whole regimen you can do once you hit menopause where you do like either like topical or like whatever. You have to basically make up for what you've lost.
Okay. But why is that so much easier to admit than just saying you do Ozempic?
Right.
I feel like
because
Margaret
it's
did
like
the same thing. She said
because it's like in reaction to a natural course of life rather than just like a vanity play.
Yeah. But do you believe Erica?
It's just like, again, Occam's razor is like, why is every fucking housewife on earth thinner than they've ever fucking been in 2023?
And it should not be.
She looks like she lost like 40 pounds.
Yeah, and it should not be shameful to admit it.
I don't give a fuck. I'm just saying, like, it's so weird that there's this cloud. I was kind of surprised that they fully brought it up on the show. Like they said it out loud.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think when your friend walks in, you haven't seen them in 5 months or whatever, and they lost 40 pounds, you have to remark
You're
on
like,
it.
holy
It's just,
fucking shit. She's thinner than she has ever been, like, since her first season. Like, she's, like, shockingly thin.
yeah. I mean, I'm just going to say it now. When Dorit said, how do you spell hormones? Ozempic. I mean, I thought that was so funny. One of the funniest things Dorit has ever said. I mean, because it's just, I don't know. I guess it's just so ridiculous to not be honest about it if that's what you're doing
Right.
to me. And I think it's very clear that that's what Erica's doing.
Right.
I mean,
Like, just be like, I mean, whatever. I'm not trying to comment on women's bodies. I don't like whatever. It's just, it's a topic that is being talked about right now. But like, she, you know, went through a phase where she was like severely depressed and going through a stressful time and like put on weight because of that, probably whatever, and just be like, yeah, fuck you. Like I was brought to like my knees on the brink of like death because of my husband's crimes or whatever her involvement is, ? And everyone went on this miracle weight loss drug and I look bomb as fuck now. I feel happy. I like it. I fit in my costumes, whatever. Like cares.
They claim that Tom Girardi is on it.
I just pictured him in like a confessional
Well,
look.
remember, gosh, this is so horrible. No offense to Tom Girardi, but there was that photo of him in that gigantic suit.
It was like children in a suit.
Yeah. It was like,
I mean, yeah, I will say, I don't know. I'm just like,
wait, what's why is this so horrible to talk about? I can't even really wrap my mind around why it's bad.
Because I want to mind my business. I don't really give a shit. It's like whatever people want to do, they want to do. Like,
but if they're lying about that, it's just not something that you need to lie about. If you're lying about it, what else do you lie about?
Exactly.
You're lying specifically. We know that you're most likely lying.
Right.
Like, well, I don't know what hormone therapy you're doing. And even if you are doing hormone therapy, I really don't understand how that's considered more natural than just some drug that all of your peers are using.
Right.
Like, do you really want to have you have to separate yourself from everyone else? Like, you're doing the best version of it and no one else is doing the right thing?
But then it's like Kyle is also thinner than she's ever been. And she staunchly, says that she's not on it. And, she's obviously become borderline obsessed with exercising.
Do you think she filmed all that workout stuff in like one day?
Yeah. I mean, she does look like strong. Like, that's the difference.
Well, we know when people... this isn't controversial to say. When people give up alcohol, they lose weight naturally.
Sure.
Because, right?
Yeah. But like she looks strong. Like there's a difference.
Yeah.
I will, again, I'm not shaming anyone because.
Are you about to shame?
No, they're just certain people that clearly are on Ozempic and because they only lost weight through like malnutrition where they just look kind of like sick.
Who does?
Like Margaret or like, certain people, they just look like kind of like gaunt, whereas like someone that lost weight through fitness, even maybe in accompanying Ozempic, but like also are like fit and healthy. Like some people, it's just they look like they just aren't getting enough vitamins and they're just like thin. And I feel like Erica Jane's kind of like that. Like, again, I'm sorry, you guys. I'm not trying to like do a whole segment about like what people look like. I'm just saying like I hope that if you take that course that you are healthy, because I think Erica Jane looks a little sick.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and I'm not going to go with you there at all. I'm going to leave you hanging out on a limb completely with no validation on that fact. I just find it more...
I'm not clipping that for TikTok. If you heard it, you heard it.
I just find it absolutely odd beyond belief, to where I can't even fathom it. Why you can't just be honest about taking something that is going to radically change people's lives and is going to be the future of weight loss for so many people. It's going to be the most ubiquitous thing in the world. We are all like, I mean, it's just, it's going to be a part of our life. Why not be honest at the forefront? And if you're lying about it now, what the hell else are you lying about right to my face?
Yeah. Dolores is like the only one.
Love it.
Yeah.
Who else has admitted it? Dolores said, I'm doing what everybody else is doing, which is great.
Marlo said it.
Marlo said it?
Yeah.
Marlo also said, I'm doing shots just like everybody else. Shots.
Yeah.
So it's just, there are these pioneers, I mean, that are just admitting it. And I think it's very refreshing, and I think you should, because it's doing a disservice to say it's anything else than what you're actually doing.
Yeah. So Yeah, I need like a Google chart of I'm like, who's admitted it, who's probably on it, who denies being on it, but I believe them.
Yeah. I mean, there were some early adopters, and like you said, there was some stigma about giving it to the people that really need it. There's a
Right.
Wegovy
Shortage
or whatever. But now, come on. There's, we've said it 100 times. We keep talking about Ozempic, but it keeps being brought up.
I know.
Keeps
It's
being
not our
lied
fault.
About. Yeah, it's just like it's like the biggest thing that's happening in the Housewives universe.
Let's go get a script.
You want to? Me and you?
Yeah, let's go to like Mexico.
Why couldn't we have it here?
We could get it here, but you could get it cheaper probably down there.
People like are watching our YouTubes over the next months, and you are just
They're like, whoa, are you the incredible shrinking woman?
Yeah. Anything else in news? Because we did talk about Ozempic for about 20 minutes.
I'm sorry, you guys. I
no,
know that.
no. Okay, so I want to
trigger warning.
Yeah, I want. Oh God, what if people are like mad? I can't imagine being mad. But if you are, we'll never talk about it again.
Also, the results are in. I'm just going to say this. I saw a TikTok that they did a clinical trial on the effects on your kidneys, and it's like amazing for your kidneys.
Are you kidding?
Like they ended the clinical trial early because they were like, the results are in, baby.
Who said that?
Kidneys thriving on Ozempic.
Wait, was there any doubt that they hurt your kidneys?
I think they, have to run these tests on
Studies
every part of
cancel,
it.
everyone.
Go
the
home.
results are pitch perfect. We did it. But
Your kidneys are shining.
wow, amazing. So they don't even need to do it longer to see if there's long-term
Yeah,
effects.
they
It's
were like, it would be unethical to force these people to do it longer when we already know the facts.
Okay, so
they're clear.
So we're stating here definitively on Turtle Time, Ozempic has absolutely no side effects and nothing will ever happen, so take it immediately.
Yeah, my cat has kidney disease, so maybe I should get her on Ozempic.
Would that be good ultimately for her?
Well, it's a question mark because kidney disease affects your appetite. So, chicken or the egg,
Oh, so if she was having Ozempic, she wouldn't want to eat, but then also with her kidney disease, she doesn't want to eat either.
Yeah.
So it's kind of good.
She wouldn't want to eat for a different reason?
Can I just ask you, do you want your cat to go on Ozempic?
She's going to be hot.
That would
She's
be
going to be
awesome.
36, 24, 36.
I saw her today. I didn't want to I saw her earlier today. I thought she looked hot already. But
Yeah, she was eating her cat grass because she's a little healthy girly. She's already on her skinny journey.
she looked good. I mean, okay. So then PK and Dorit, they also want to have their own little mini Mauricio and Kyle
Right.
thing fallout. But then I saw them on Beverly Hills. We're talking about Beverly Hills so much. I don't even know if we should just go right into Beverly Hills. We
Right.
basically covered it.
I
all.
know.
Should we just go into it?
Sure.
I mean, but yeah, right.
I
'Cause
mean,
everything.
well, speaking of, they just totally, it seemed like he wanted it to be his introduction, but he was like double fisting two bags of chips.
yeah, he was a 2-bagger.
And she was like, PK.
PK. 2 bags of chips.
And he
How
was
did she
like,
talk?
what? I'm hungry.
It was. They were. That was a sitcom. That was like a Mike and Molly or
Right.
2.5. Well, 2.5 Men. He didn't have a wife in it, but that was
Yeah, she was like, Bubba,
Bubba. I just don't know what he'll say.
you're out of control.
I can't leave you alone with Eagle Woman. It was like. What are the sitcoms of it? Like All in the Family. I've never even seen that garbage, but it really that was too much
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah. I know. I was like, can you leave now, PK? Why do you have to sit here for this whole meeting?
It's like PK's in the pantry again. I can't buy these chips anymore for you. What the hell is my husband going to say when Eagle Woman walks in?
he should do a TikTok series called PK in the Pantry.
PK in the pantry talks about all of his favorite snacks in there. I guess to address the rumors now, PK and Dorit, people say that they're on thin ice.
Yeah.
They're skating on thin ice. I don't know what the evidence was of this because PK was seen at a gas station without his wedding ring, or there's a lot of blind items about them. Possibly. Oh, and also Erica Jane, I guess, added fodder to that.
Oh, right.
But Dorit and PK definitively in People magazine, they claimed this is not true, despite his chip eating habits and everything else that's going on. Despite what he said about Eagle Woman, they're doing fine.
Yeah.
And I've always thought that their relationship was odd.
Uh-huh.
And I don't like PK at all.
Okay.
In any way, shape, or form. I think he's fine.
Yeah.
He's definitely not one of my favorite people in my life.
Yeah.
And he's definitely not one of my favorite house husbands. He'd be in like my bottom 30.
Okay.
But whatever PK and Dorit have going for them that has lasted however long, I still see it very clearly in them, unless some earth-shattering thing shook them up.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever was there before, I still feel is there now.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel?
I mean, the whole home invasion thing, I think, has some validity of, you know, he wasn't there. And then, so maybe there's no way he can understand what effect it had on her.
How could he not? I mean, we're going to get to those scenes, I guess, when they come up in the show. But I am not understanding how he, if there's a lack of empathy on his part. I don't know if we're seeing the full clip, because that would almost be too egregiously awful if he wasn't being sympathetic to her.
Yeah. Unless it's like a weird mind game of that he feels guilty that he wasn't there, so he has to like minimize it so that he doesn't feel bad.
So you're saying if there was this like very traumatic incident and she starts to like blame him, but it doesn't seem like, I mean, I remember even last season I like felt like Dorit didn't get the full, like it was sort of swept under the rug as the season went on, and it wasn't like the main focus. So I understand that she wants to still talk about it, and I know it still affects her.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're saying if something like that happened, maybe it would lead them.
I mean, anything could. I feel like anything can break a marriage apart after a certain amount of time. Like, I'm like, I won't ever be surprised if people get a divorce. So TBD. But yeah. Also, the Sutton brought up that she had heard that there was a woman in the car when he got his DUI, suspicion of a DUI or whatever, and then Teddi. This is maybe what she was being super bold about. She was, first of all, said Sutton's the one that carries vodka in her purse. I was like, that's unnecessary. And then
it's like, why? What's the shame in that?
And she, like, who you need your little nippers.
People used to have nippers. People used to carry flasks.
Yeah,
and they would have nippers. Like if you haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet.
Yeah,
they have. Did you?
No.
Oh, they have little nippers.
Okay,
it's just like something, you know.
It's like Stassi's dad.
Yeah.
It's also, I will say, as someone who watched Intervention for a long time, I would say like vodka nippers is like the number 1 sign of alcoholism.
Nippers?
Like they always buy the little bottles because they're easy to hide.
Yeah. I mean, I wish Teddi wouldn't have done that. I know she hates Sutton because Sutton hates her.
Up.
But it's just like, I mean, I didn't like that type of shade.
No, it was like rude.
Yeah.
And like gross. But she then goes, she's like, I read PK's police report and it said that he was alone. And Andy was like, you read the police report? She was like, yes, I did. And I went to TMZ and I don't think that Harvey Levin gets that kind of thing wrong. And I was like, do you think it's like cool that you read PK's like DUI report? Like, is that like something you think is impressive?
Okay. Contrary to your take, I'm sorry. I hate to do this. I think because Teddi is now a commentator and a podcaster like you and I mean, she's like us. Mm-hmm. I thought due diligence. I'm glad I know that because Sutton created, I love Sutton. She's like my favorite Beverly Hills cast member. But I thought it was shitty of her to knowingly bring up a rumor that could be very disproved easily by Teddi, by the police report, by TMZ, and she just brought it up to get it out in the ether for us to watch now.
Yeah.
So I was kind of glad that Teddi did that reporting.
Right.
You know, I looked at the police report because now I'm like, oh, it's complete bullshit.
Right.
So I don't believe Sutton. I believe that she just wanted to bring that, you know, out in the world. And so, and Teddi's role now as a podcaster requires her to do that kind of stuff. Yeah. And then Andy was like, oh, what the hell are you doing, Teddi?
Like, you're disgusting.
Can we get the bartender to sit in your seat and you go to the bartender? He was so pissed.
He was
her.
like, ew.
Andy, please, when you listen to Turtle Time, I think your hatred of Teddi was shining through too much. You got to ease back a little bit.
Oh my gosh.
He knows how the world feels about Teddi, so he wants to like give the world what we want.
Yeah. I feel like there must be something weird there that I need to know more about.
She's probably said some like horrendous shit and she said it to him. She's like a bad Bethany.
Yeah.
Like riding the line of what you should say about Bravo and what you shouldn't say, but she still wants to be back in its good graces, you know?
Yeah. I know he's like needs to be wary of everyone these days.
Oh, before we get into Beverly Hills, we don't have any more news, right?
No.
Okay. Oh, yeah, news is done. right?
Right. Except, I mean, were you gonna say about the that there might
Yeah.
be a reckoning coming?
So in the next couple weeks, maybe they're going to coincide with BravoCon. I mean, I know how
God.
these reporters are. I know journalists. I know how they are. I think they're going to be teeing up some huge expose to. Oh, so sorry. The news is that Vanity
Yeah.
Fair is working. They are reporting. They've got journalists everywhere, and they are talking to former cast members like Housewives, and I think maybe possibly unnamed, sources that are actively in the franchise now.
Yeah.
And they are working on a deeply reported, long expose about Bravo and its potentially toxic workplace.
Yeah.
Very much in line with what Bethany has been talking about with her reality reckoning.
It's like Ronan Farrow vibes.
Ronan Farrow vibes, exactly. Except I don't know if we know who is actually reporting it. That would be kind of good to know.
Yeah.
So it's a question of will they report on something that you and I, when we read it, will we be like, oh my God, that's the worst thing I've ever heard
Yeah.
in my life. I can no longer rely on Bravo and its content anymore.
Yeah.
Or will it be a gigantic, big, what's that called? Nothing burger.
Uh-huh.
Where absolutely nothing comes from it. It doesn't change our mind at all.
Right.
Or will it be something that we live with the realities of what they say, and it's not that horrible, I guess.
Right. I mean, I could be proven wrong. I hope the details of it aren't horrendous. I don't want that to be the case, but I feel like, they're kind of now just everyone is reporting on every entertainment show basically and bringing it out. There was the Jimmy Fallon one, obviously the Ellen one. The
Jimmy Fallon one had like absolutely no impact.
No.
Jimmy just said, "I'm sorry, I'm not going to get drunk anymore," and then that was it.
There was a Kelly Clarkson show one.
Whoa, I didn't even see that one.
So I'm like, I feel like we're just going down the line and proving that entertainment in general is toxic.
Yeah.
Which if you've worked it, you already know that.
Yeah, right.
So I would be surprised if the details, I feel like it takes something pretty fucking crazy to break through, which I'm not going to compare it, but like speaking of Ronan Farrow, like the Harvey Weinstein shit or like all of the Me Too stuff, it took something that horrible, like unimaginable to break through for people to care.
Right.
So I'm like, if it's like they keep the housewives up late and like let them drink, I'm going to be like, yeah, like we kind of figured that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I think maybe there will be some details that are wild or whatever, but I don't know. I TBD on, because I feel like, I think that conversation's been had a lot about like The Bachelor. Like remember there was that whole show on Lifetime called Unreal, and it was like about how manipulative the producers are. And
but you can tell on that show.
Sure.
It looks like the complete subject of just ABC and the producers. Like
totally.
It's just complete.
So whatever. I hope that it's nothing terrible just because I don't want that to be true. But I think if it's nothing too mind blowing, that no one will really care.
Yeah. I think you're probably right. If I was betting, I would say that there's gonna be a lot of things that sound bad, or like that maybe the outside observer who is not familiar with these shows might be like, they do what? They're allowed to drink in excess and black out on camera and they still film them?
Right.
Like, something like that. We'll be like, well, yeah. I mean, we've seen people black out drunk hundreds of times on these shows. And you're probably right. I doubt that there's going to be some huge smoking gun in there that is going to make us rethink our relationship to Bravo, if I was guessing.
If anything, it would be the kind of thing that we, the unspoken thing about like during Scandival that they chose to leave out, like leaving out maybe things that were on camera that things like that could be dark,
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Bravo still needs to answer for that. But I think they might have. They said that Tom Sandoval has had no influence whatsoever on what we film or whatever. But still, I don't know. If Rachel said that she said that on camera, that was kind of bad.
Right. So there could be stuff like that. But it's scary.
Okay, so you're potentially scared about what they might uncover.
Maybe.
It's Vanity Fair, though. I mean, no offense to Vanity Fair, but do they? I don't know. If it was the New Yorker, I'd be like worried. If it was Ronan Farrow or something, but Vanity Fair, I don't know. I don't
Has
remember.
Vanity Fair done any hard breaking news? I'm not sure.
No, I mean, I'm sure if you said the top 10 best like Vanity Fair exposés, there might be a good one, but I don't know any great reporting they've had in the last 10 years.
Yeah. What was that picture that Bethany posted with like Rachel and all those people?
I'll be honest, I don't know. It's too hard to keep up with what the hell Bethany's doing. She also has like a 5-part Nene podcast, joint podcast. Have you seen that?
They like a separate podcast?
Yeah, like she's doing her Nene Bethany show that she wanted that Bravo said absolutely
not Ebony and Ivory.
She's doing that, but it's called Bethanini, and it's 5 parts, and each one is 6 minutes long with 4 ads in it, and she's stretching out to 5 parts. And I'm like, oh God, I want to know everything in the world about what Bethany's doing, but I can't tolerate the pace of that.
It's literally insane.
I can't.
If it's not a crawfish broil, I don't want to hear about it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And also, like Nene, we've already talked about this. Nene is not willing to go to the lengths that Bethany is to forsake the Bravo franchise.
Yeah.
Nene still wants back. I think she honestly regrets a little bit that she filed that lawsuit.
Yeah.
That's how I understood it when she was talking to Bethany. Bethany's the one that wants to burn the bridge and burn it all down.
Yeah. I would love to know what like Candy thinks about all this.
Candy is like, I will do this till the day I die.
Well, Candy also is like a producer mind.
Yes.
And like Todd was literally worked on the Housewives. So I feel like they probably have a lot to say, you know?
Yeah.
And
a lot to say about, I mean, I feel like her and Todd are pretty pro Bravo.
Right. And I'm like, you know, like I said before, at this point, I understand. I bet you there are stories from bygones past of like shit that happened with people that were new and didn't know what was going on, or like we've talked about with Rachel, she had no clue what the fuck she was doing and was probably taken advantage of in multiple ways.
I mean, Ramona threw a wine glass at Kristen Takeman's face and caused her to bleed.
Yes. But again, anyone starting the Housewives after a certain time, especially in 2023, I'm sorry, but I'm not worried about you. Like you probably have a manager. You probably like knew the amount of money to ask for.
Yeah.
You've seen what the show is, what's demanded of you. So, you know, I'm not concerned for your safety.
Right. RHONY's the perfect example of like the new era of how tame things can be in this new Bravo environment.
Yeah, you can just choose to not participate at all if you want.
Yeah, exactly right. Do you want to get in? Should we talk about Beverly Hills? Because we just kind of
let's
talk about it so much, and then we'll reward people who are doing the Southern Charm Challenge right after.
Yes.
People who have waited a week to hear us talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beverly Hills. I mean, we talked about a lot already.
Yeah. The Eagle Woman has landed. I thought it was interesting that they chose to make that the title.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to be a little bit of a stinker for a second, can I?
Yes.
For the first 10 or 15 minutes of this episode, I was like, what the hell is happening here?
Yeah.
Why are they treating this person named Eagle Woman like this is the wildest thing in the world, no pun intended, that they've ever seen in their lives? And why is PK making these jokes about her name? Why is Garcelle saying there's someone legally named? It seemed
it
like
was problematic.
2010 comedy.
Well, I was like, I didn't look into it, but I assumed that she's Native American.
You have to assume, or else that would, like, I mean, everything about what she was doing was supposed to be.
They kept playing, like, giving her, like, the kooky cut.
I know.
And everyone was like, her name's Eagle Woman. I was like, guys.
Also, like, is this is Dorit's vibe? I didn't really know that before.
Right.
Is she a
like,
new
spiritual journey?
Like, this just seemed like such a contrived
Right.
producer thing.
Right.
To, like, get them to have the fresh start party.
Yeah,
But
and
then
it was weird that they started out. That seems like something that would happen usually, like, episodes in.
Yeah, and first off, they didn't have anything to recover from that was so egregious that they needed this summit at the top of a mountain to get over. If this was Scandival, I would imagine that would be the regrouping.
They need Eagle Woman.
Huh?
They need Eagle
Woman to go there immediately. And then I didn't like the comedy routine about this at all. Like it just seemed like you guys aren't familiar with new age or holistic or
Right.
this kind of retreat.
Yeah, we've seen it a billion times. And if anything, Eagle Women seem more legit than most of the time when they do it with a shaman
She
somewhere.
was sweet and nice, and then like they just like let PK run. Which I don't totally mind. I just think that it just was such a like, why are they giving this the edit? Like this is the dumbest thing they've ever seen when
Yeah.
they've done way dumber.
Totally.
And also nothing that happened last season warranted this. They're
No.
not that fractured.
Right.
It's not right.
Yeah. No, it was a weird way to start. I was surprised. Like it felt out of order.
Yeah.
Did you like though that they showed us a screenshot of Lisa Rinna's email to Bravo to NBC Uni?
Well, so yeah, I mean, I have a lot of thoughts about it because first of all, I don't believe anything that Rinna has ever said or done in her life, and I think she is completely fake. So I thought this email was fake because I was like, wouldn't your agent or manager be making such a declarative statement on your behalf to end your relationship with a network and a show that you spent 8 years on? But I do think that if they included it, that it must have actually been real. I mean, there were, I guess, NBC Universal names in the email thing.
Yeah.
It said, but then the subject line was like, "1 more season!" exclamation point. I was like, is that the emails they send out directly to cast for them to come back? Like 1 more season?
Right.
And then also there's always this, I've heard that Bravo lets cast members create a shroud of doubt about whether they were fired or whether they left the show.
Yeah.
Like they don't definitively state that someone was fired. So I thought maybe this was allowing Rinna to have that. I left you, you didn't leave me.
Yeah. Do you think Andy has an NBC Uni email?
Yeah. a.cohen@nbcu.com.
Yeah. Or do you think they let him use like Bravo Andy at Gmail?
I think he is. That's a great question, and I love thinking about people's emails.
I bet he does have
But I bet he didn't have to port over everything because it's such a hassle having a corporate email and your personal. I bet he has his own Bravo.
I bet he gets like all confidential correspondence, like screeners and anything sensitive, because on the Rinna email the subject, this is so boring but interesting to me, the subject line was like external : whatever, because whenever you use like a corporate email, it like makes it very clear when you're going outside of the network. So I wonder if Andy just does like official correspondence, but then I bet you, because you know how like CEOs, he's not a CEO, but like they're always very like snappy, like they have to do everything quick because they have to make so many decisions a day, like sending an email that's just a subject line,
I like
or
that.
like texting. Like I feel like he does all his business like text.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You know what I mean? Like someone else has to deal with
He's
it.
not an email
Right.
guy.
Like whereas like for me, every time I write an email, I feel like I'm putting together like a masterpiece. Like it needs to be like perfectly written.
I'm exactly that way. And then I'll get emails back that are like, yep, sounds good. And I'm just like, whoa, the breeziness of that email is so powerful. I like really have to work on these emails I send.
I'm like lamenting the exclamations, question mark if it should be a smiley. I don't want to do too many exclamations because I don't want to seem like desperate, but I also want to seem friendly.
I think the world wants us to send breezier emails. And you and I are like thinking about them too much because I'm just like that.
Yeah. But sending an email on like an iPhone is absolutely terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Like disaster zone.
Yeah. If that email was true and they sent an email to Lisa Rinna directly that said 1 more season ? And like offered her to be on it 1 more season, which I find that hard to believe that that's how they conduct their business.
Right.
Her email was a little rude back to them. Like I don't remember exactly the language, but it was like, thanks so much, but absolutely, but no.
It was like, I will not be renewing my contract for an 8th season or whatever. And then it was like, thanks so much for the 8 years.
It was like a little too breezy.
Yeah. Well, maybe it was like they had gone back and forth with like her manager or whatever in official channels. And then maybe they had an executive email her like saying like 1 more season ? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Like, and then she was like, I'm officially saying no.
Yeah, I mean, if they included this email in the show, I have to assume that it's real.
Yeah.
Because why would they want to fake an email that came from Lisa Rinna,
Right.
to like let her... So she left the show, which I'm surprised by.
Yeah. I know. I was watching American Horror Story the other day, and she's going to be on the American Horror Stories. Like
Oh.
they have like an anthology or something on Hulu. And I was like, she's perfect for that, actually.
You think so?
Yes. She should totally be in the Ryan Murphy universe. She makes perfect sense for that. She's like camp. He loves Housewives.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to comment too much on that because I want to save our relationship with Ryan Murphy. But yeah, you're right. Lisa Rinna's perfect for those type of shows.
Yeah, I mean, I'm watching the one with Kim Kardashian right now,
How is
and
it?
I mean, it's very, very silly. But I am I've always watched. I haven't seen all of it, but basically, I've watched American Horror Story since the beginning. There's something that I like about it. I'm not going to say it's good,
Yeah.
but I enjoy it.
Yeah, I got sort of fooled by like 2 seasons ago. They had this really cool art where it was like this alien one and it was like this vampire one. And I was like, wow, I might go back to watch American Horror Story because I haven't watched it in like 8 years. And I think it was one of the worst things I've ever seen in my life.
Totally.
In terms of television.
Absolutely.
It was.
But they are very good at like the concepts are always really strong.
Yeah, and then it fizzles out completely.
Yeah, like the execution is never good, but whenever you're like, oh dang, like a circus freak one, like that's good. And then or it'll be like LA murder and you're like, oh, that's fun. And then
they just like can't finish
this
it.
one's like a pregnancy horror. It's called Delicate. And it's Emma Roberts. Basically, she's an actress, so it's very meta, like Hollywood commentary, which is fun. And Kim Kardashian plays her publicist, and it's fucking dumb. And I like it because it's not Bravo, and I get to watch like one thing that's not Bravo.
So that's your one thing.
And Kardashian, so
That's
double
nice.
Kardashian.
Did you watch that one where it was a writer who drinks blood and he gets artistically motivated when he drinks blood?
Who was it? Do you remember? It's always the same, like 7 people.
I don't
but
remember.
anyways,
Okay, so we talked about PK and Dorit. We don't really have to talk about that, right?
yeah, I did like when Erica was like, she gave her shit about her BravoCon statement about PK and Dorit breaking up. Like she was like, I think it's going to be Dorit and PK. And Erica was like, I'm a show woman. I gave those people what they wanted. I was like, true.
Yeah. No, yeah, it's true. I mean, she had to give an answer. She wanted to say that one for some reason, and I just think it was too. Dorit knows what's going on here, and I thought it's like not that big of a deal to be brought up, and Erica's like fully in the clear there too.
Yeah, I don't really care.
And me neither. And then she really, gave a, I thought, heartfelt apology, where she was just like, I mean, imagine how horrible Erica's life has been the last 3 years.
I know. Regardless of her involvement, still sucked.
I'm definitively stating the Riley Hamilton turtle time position is that Erica did not know
Knew
what the hell was going on.
nothing at all.
Knew nothing. Just thought that her husband was rich as hell. And then I also think that Tom Girardi was embezzling because I think he was suffering early stages of dementia.
I think there might be both, where his mind tapping out made his situation worse because he was like struggling to like stay organized or understand what he was doing. But I also think his legal team is probably like upping the volume on that to, help his case.
So that's why they put him in that gigantic suit to sort of make it seem like as if he doesn't know what kind of suits to wear.
Yeah.
No, I will. I'm not going to. Why would I go on the limb for Tom Girardi? Like, absolutely not. I'm not going to say definitively he didn't know what he was doing. He most likely did. But I think that a part dementia I don't think it's at all fake. He seems.
He seems demented.
The way I wanted to say that word because it perfectly sounds like what it would be, but then that's not a good correlation.
Yeah.
The suffering from is dementia even the proper word anymore? I believe it, but I do not think Erica was in on it to almost to any degrry. And I've always thought that people's casting her as a villain was too much, and I don't believe she was.
Because it's like he was still fucking rich with or without that.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe towards the end he was becoming desperate, and that's probably why he was embezzling, but he was historically a very wealthy man when she met him. So why would she necessarily think that it was strange for her to be able to spend that amount of money?
Right.
Right.
I mean,
but then there is like some crazy shit about like the way she scammed those costume designers out of the Amex bill and all of that stuff. Like,
Oh yeah, I will look into that.
I think there's a large portion of the gay community that is not down with Erica Jane because they know all of the inside stories, which sucks.
Well, one thing I'll say about Erica, just I guess for future, because I'm gonna, I am not a big fan of Erica at all as a cast member. I think she gives almost nothing. She doesn't want to get too personal. She's not so fun.
Yeah.
She was really powerful at the start when Lisa was like so scared of Erica. It was kind of shocking because Erica didn't give a shit about Lisa and Vanderpump. And so that was an interesting dynamic because Erica all of a sudden was so powerful and Lisa kind of looked like she didn't know what to do with Erica's power.
Yeah.
But then it's been like, what? How many years has Erica been on the show? 6?
A lot.
Like 7? Like,
yeah.
forever.
I feel like she's like resting on fashion at this point.
Yeah.
Like,
and then like now I feel compelled to defend her because I do not believe that she was in on it, on this scheme of defrauding airline victims or whatever. But I don't really care for Erica that much.
Well, she also just handled it fucking horribly.
Yeah.
Like her way of talking about it, like the clip that they'll never stop playing of her like, I don't give a fuck about the victims. I only care about me. I was like, why would you say that out loud, girl?
I like it. I think it's honest.
Sure, but like she wasn't making her life any easier
No,
the way
but-
that people were responding to her.
But I give so much credit to people who don't make their lives easier if that's what they feel.
Right. Well, also with like the earrings and Dorit's like, what do $700,000 earrings look like? And she's like, they're 1.3. It's like, girl, like that's like just like a legal matter at this point of like
Right.
talking about your assets. Like
She was like the worst person to get into an environment like this because she's not very naturally empathetic.
Yeah.
It seems.
Yeah.
From how I view her, and I think that she didn't want to pretend.
Yeah.
Like she was in on it and that she had to give statements on camera, like that she needed to just cry about it every single day. I don't know. I thought it was interesting how she handled it because she didn't give herself this performative fake empathy where she was just like, I'm dedicating all of everything I do now to the victims and I'm meeting with the victims and we have to see her like go to people who were affected by Tom Girardi because then she's admitting complicity or
Right.
is that being complicit in his
Yeah.
actions. And so it was kind of interesting to me to watch a non-empathetic, non-PR move
right.
reaction to this.
Yeah.
And then we get to see her not to skip forward, but I can just get rid of this Erica
Oh,
scene
yeah.
now. She learns what empathy is. Did you like that?
When she was this in therapy or was
Yeah.
this? Yeah.
No, she goes. Sorry to skip forward.
No.
It's I don't know. Okay. No. Sorry. Before I get to that, sorry. She learns about empathy, but we can talk about that because it is. I think that Kyle grievance is worth noting.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be very interesting how that plays out. So after Dorit gets her turn,
Yeah.
which Erica had no clue what the hell Dorit was talking about. She was like, wait, I almost felt like she was like, this is really something you're mad at? Then she gets out of it completely by doing a heartfelt apology.
Yeah.
And then Kyle goes, can I have my piece of this? And she's like, the way you all did not comfort me at the reunion when me and Kathy, like I felt like me and Kathy's relationship was over.
Yeah.
And no one comforted me because in Kyle's opinion, people are scared of Kathy and want that sweet, sweet Kathy runoff.
The invite to the Christmas party, specifically Sutton.
And I fully believe it.
Yeah.
I believe it. Kyle is not always so brave with her opinions and doesn't like to go out on a limb. She's very cautious. So the fact that she was able to just pin the tail on the proverbial donkey on Sutton and Dorit, I liked it.
They showed like a whole montage of photos of Sutton at parties with Kathy.
I liked it, and I am a Sutton fan, but I respect that Kyle is saying this.
Yeah.
And
She also said that whenever Kathy calls her, she like breaks out in a full sweat. Like she's terrified of Kathy.
And
she rules with an iron fist. Like, will we ever know the real Kathy? Like,
I know the real Kathy.
you think she's a demon?
Yes, fully.
I won't be satisfied until I destroy Kyle's family.
I believe it. I never believe Rinna. I never believe her. But this is the one incident that I fully believe that Kathy flew off the handle and said the worst shit about everyone in that Sprinter van with Rinna. And Rinna, for some reason, was fumbling with her phone and couldn't record it. But I bet she said the most vitriolic, hateful
imagine if we had the
shit.
footage, though.
I mean, the fact that Rinna couldn't get to her phone, I feel like they addressed that at the reunion. Rinna was like, I just couldn't do it or whatever. But I bet we would have been like flabbergasted by what Kathy said. I also believe she said the slur against the DJ. That seems to be completely validated by everyone, but no one wants to get into it. I think she had a meltdown tirade. She said that about that DJ. And I think that she puts on a persona for the camera. And when she got to the reunion, I felt like her defense was so weak and sloppy. I feel like we've already talked about this. Rinna just like said everything she had to say. She stood behind it. And Kathy goes, well, you're the biggest bully in Hollywood. And everyone knows it. It was so like calculated. Yeah. Such a dumb comeback.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Paris Hilton is terrified of her mother too. So, and lest we forget, she sent Paris to one of those like terrible camps.
And also, Kathy Hilton on Paris is Love or whatever, Paris in Love, is not like the Kathy on Beverly Hills. She's not this like scatterbrained, silly, hungry, whatever the persona Kathy was. Also, I'll never forget when they show that montage of Kathy Hilton hawking that shitty fucking tequila at every single event. I think that's one of the worst things in the world. And the fact that she got this hero edit or fun edit or
hunky dory edit.
The hunky dory edit. I fully believe everything. And then I believe Kyle about Kathy.
Yeah.
I think Kathy's probably awful. She calls her to rant about everything in the world. And
I know in that photo, it was like, you forget that their age difference is pretty big. And like the photo of Kathy sitting next to baby Kyle in 1969. And you're just like, oh, what happened in that house?
And I feel like the huge sister dynamic is that Kim and Kathy are very quick to throw Kyle to the curb if Kyle does some infraction against them. They're more capable of leaving Kyle in the lurch and like distancing themselves with her. And it seems like Kyle really wants her sisters in her life. I mean, in my opinion, I do feel like Kyle loves her sisters and wants them back. And stuff comes up on the show, and you know there is stuff that her and Kim, like Kim had legitimate grievances against Kyle, but I do think that they are quick to like, we'll shun you forever. You'll never hear from us again. And Kyle just has to like live
she's been
with
like
that.
tortured.
Yeah,
which it is kind of nice now to see her potentially stand on her own 2 feet and be like, you know what, like fuck all y'all, including Mauricio.
No, and that felt,
you know what I mean?
And that's what the end of this episode felt like. I feel like Kyle has always been living under the wing of someone. Like for the first 10 years, she was under Lisa's wing. Yeah. She could do nothing that Lisa would like not write her off forever. And she ended up doing it. Yeah. Lisa ended up writing her off the minute that things got too, horrible for Lisa to deal with. And then the same with her sisters. And I think Kyle is rebelling against the notion that she has to be under someone's wing or have to care about who's going to write her off.
Right. Yeah. I mean, she's always been like riddled with anxiety, like just so scared of what was going to go wrong. So it'd be nice if, you know, she could shed that. But I feel like Mauricio might be a collateral damage there. Although, I mean, this is, I think, a little later, but when, you know, it's revealed he doesn't know how many tattoos she has. Yeah. And then he's like, that's enough. Like, don't get more. And I was like, dude, fucking chill. You're on Dancing with the Stars. She can get some little tiny black line tattoos if she wants. Like, fuck off.
Okay. I'm going to ask you, quick quiz. We never do these, but this is the Turtle Time quiz. I'm going to name the tattoo and you say what it means. Tattoo number 1, the 3 number 1 signs.
I have no idea.
Tattoo number 2, the moon and the stars.
Her kids.
Tattoo number 3, the X that look like 2 paddles or oars in an X.
Her future in Tahoe.
Number 4, the heart that was kind of like a lasso with the 2 ends.
I feel like that's also her kids.
Okay. And then I don't remember number 5, but
yeah. No, they were all like total bullshit.
There was another like Roman numeral one. Yeah. There was 3 ones. The last one was Roman numerals. Okay. 17 or something. Okay. In Roman numerals.
Was that like a wedding one or something? Maybe.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, Mauricio, don't be a boomer. You know that you don't care about these tattoos. You didn't even notice them.
Well, boomer, yeah. Him being a boomer aside, if okay, so say you and I were recording all the time. And
Yeah.
you started getting tattoos. Not like you have to tell me, but isn't it upon the person who gets the tattoo to let someone in on their tattoo journey?
Yeah.
Because why does he have to be like, did you get any tattoos in the last 2 weeks that I should know about?
Right.
Right?
I
guess
mean-
she was saying he should be looking at my body in the
Right.
buff.
Well, it's like, I guess it implies, multiple things. He's not noticing changes to her body, and also that they're just like not in such tight communication that was something that he was up on.
But she's admitting that there is a little bit of rebellion to why she's doing this, right?
Right. Well, she explicitly said she's not rebelling, but
Oh,
because he was
okay.
like, don't do
Oh,
things
you're right.
just to be rebellious.
You're
And
right.
she's like, I'm not rebelling. I'm very clear headed right now, which was giving like borderline manic.
I'm clear.
Like, I've never been more clear in my life.
I'm finally thinking clearly. I've been in a fog my entire life, and now I'm finally thinking clearly. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to say rebellion. I guess a
But yeah.
expression of freedom.
Yes.
Expression
yes.
of freedom.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
Yeah. So I'm like, pretty soon she's going to look like Morgan Wade covered in tats.
Do you think that's coming?
Well,
Is she Morgan Wade pilled?
maybe so. She said on Watch What Happens Live that she doesn't think anyone would say they were in a relationship if Morgan Wade wasn't covered in tats.
I agree with her.
Because of like, if she looked like Sutton,
I,
no one would give a fuck.
I really agree with her.
It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Kyle said it.
But it also, like, again, Occam's razor, that is what one might think.
Occam's razor.
I'm
It's
going to
true.
keep pulling Occam's razor.
No, this is the Occam's razor minute. Oh, yeah, that's one of the most. That's one of the best. What is that? A principle? That's one of the best razors of all the history.
Are
of
there
razors.
different blades?
Occam's is one of the biggest
It's
ones,
like
but there's so
Sweeney
many.
Todd's
Yes.
razor.
Occam's is the most known razor, but there are ultimately
The
5 or
Razor's
6.
Edge.
Razor's Edge is a huge one, but I'm glad you're noting one of the most popular.
Yes, definitely.
Do I care? Do you care? Okay, wait. Did we put a good enough? Did we encapsulate all of the Kyle, Mauricio, Kathy dynamic? That is, I think we got to the heart of it, right?
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Garcelle. One thing that Garcelle said at the Eagle Woman retreat, or sorry,
Yeah.
the Dorit retreat,
Yeah.
was Garcelle said, I didn't know how to act around you at the reunion because I couldn't believe that someone was coming for your family and you didn't defend them. Meaning, when Rinna came after your sister,
right.
why didn't you defend Kathy? And then Kyle says in her confessional, I don't think she says it at the retreat, but she says, I am done defending Kathy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with her doing that. I'm fine
Right.
with her not wanting to be subject to Kathy's whims and how
Right.
she wants to treat. It sounds like Kathy did write her off.
Mm-hmm.
Kathy's been, right?
Yeah. I'm like generally, because so much of it is unspoken, including, their previous history, the stuff with the real estate. Like, I feel like there's so many different aspects that are never fully covered that I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on in your guys' family. It sounds like every year she goes, we're doing really good right now, and I hope it stays this way. And then she becomes catastrophic again. And then a year later, she goes, we're really good right now.
Yeah.
Like, we went to the wedding, whatever. And then a few months later, she's like, we're not speaking. And it's just like, God, are you guys ever going to like either just not have a relationship or like get it together?
I think Kyle is like, she's what Bryn said on RHONY. People treat you how you want to be treated. I never thought I'd be quoting Bryn, but it was actually
That
very
really struck a
insightful.
chord with you.
It's true in this instance. I think that Kyle, in her want to have a good relationship with her sisters, they know that they hold power over her.
Yeah.
That their withholding is going to affect her, and she'll come running. And so the fact that when Kyle doesn't do that, maybe that will get a different result. Like, Kyle is okay. I'm not saying weak, but she's okay being the one that's like more in need of them than they need her. And now she finally is saying, I'm not going to be that person that you just treat like that.
Yeah.
And I think that's powerful.
That's true. The same like you were saying with LVP, where the second she stood up to LVP, Lisa was like, well, you don't serve your fucking purpose anymore. Like, bye.
Exactly right. And then she had to deal with goddamn
Goodbye,
Ken.
Kyle.
Goodbye, Kyle. She had to deal with Ken yelling at her.
He almost like put her in the trash can. Okay, I just want to quickly say that Garcelle's sons are annoying to me.
Oh.
And also,
Oh, wait. Wait, no, the fact that you were pouring gasoline outside of the car.
And Garcelle orders a mini at Jersey Mike's.
Yeah.
I would be starving. I'm going for a giant.
I know. I thought that was very notable that she had Jersey Mike's in that little picnic basket. I will say, those boys, whatever. I'll withhold my judgment for a little bit. I did think is it Jackson Jade?
Yes.
Jax. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get it wrong. But one of the sons, the one who said that she's a bad parent.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty egregious and
yeah,
also
he
very
was
callous.
being very like high and mighty.
Yeah, and I've seen Garcelle the last 3 years, right? She's been on the show.
Yeah.
She never struck me as a bad mother or distant. They were talking about the 3 weeks she was gone shooting for her job.
I know they were like, it felt
year.
like a year.
And then he also sounded high and mighty about saying like, I needed mothering 2 years ago, but now I am a saintly being that no longer needs the attachments
felt like
of a mother.
the power dynamic was off where she should have just been like, go fuck yourself. I fucking gave you everything.
I think
not to be a boomer, but you know what I mean.
No, totally. We're boomers. I think it was the God, I wish I knew. I think her son was trying to look cool on camera, and he said something unnecessarily callous that only a teenager would say that made his mom look really bad.
Yeah.
It made her sad, and I don't think it's true.
Yeah.
Sorry to discount him, but I just don't think she was a bad mother
Right.
to them, and I think that she opened the door to that conversation, and he just went too far.
Yeah, for sure. I felt bad for her, and now that conversation is going to come up again.
But it sounded like she was teeing up for this to be her storyline for the season,
right.
her relationship.
Yeah.
What did you think about Sutton's freewheeling adventure in the halls of Sutton, the store?
That was fun. I forgot about her and Jennifer Tilly.
I didn't forget. She's
Iconically, the bride of Chucky.
Bride of Chucky. Iconically, Liar Liar, the person who Jim Carrey defends and gets her off. Do you remember that movie?
Yeah. Isn't she also in Bullets Over Broadway?
You name a movie, and I bet there's a chance she's in it.
Okay, so this is my question. Again,
Is it Tilly related?
well, that scene.
Okay.
So Sutton bought a horse.
Santos.
On her Amex. She said Santos.
How much was it? 450,000?
I don't know. She said it was in the preview. It says more than Garcelle's Birkin, which was what? Do you remember? Was it like 50 grand or something?
More than Garcelle's Birkin. Let me think if I can remember how much Garcelle's Birkin cost.
But yeah, horses are like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
But she said Santos, when she saw him, he started speaking to her.
Yeah.
Telepathically.
Through the internet.
She said that?
Yeah. She was like online.
Oh, that's sweet.
But he's from the Netherlands or something. They had to like ship him in. I don't know how that works, but
they shipped him. I think that it's
like Diamonds and Rosé, the mini horses, remember?
Right. Oh, sad.
Rip. Okay, this is what I don't understand. So
okay.
They showed her, she got married in the year 2000.
Whoa.
She said that she stopped working when they had kids, or that her husband like requested that she stop working when they had kids. And so she was saying that like he could withhold her allowance, and the power dynamic was then off or whatever.
Right.
They show a headline that said that she got getting $300,000 a month in like spousal support.
Could you imagine if we
But
had
I'm like,
that?
She's from wealth. Right?
She's just rich as hell.
So it's like she was rich as hell already. She married a guy who's rich as
she
hell.
contributed to their income in their household before getting pregnant, she said.
Sure. But then when you get divorced, obviously you come to a deal, and he must be more wealthy because she's the main caretaker of the kids. She needs needs $300,000 for the kids' expenses.
Those kids. If her son is asking for a PlayStation 5 and she has $300,000 a month, you know he's getting that PlayStation 5.
Yeah, that's way more than because remember, how much does David Bador get?
That's more than we make a month for Turtle Time.
I mean, our Patreon's getting up there, close to $300,000 a month, but
that's one of those things where when you hear Sutton has $300,000 a month for her children, you ask, what would it be to her to give us $25,000 a month each?
Yeah,
for us,
just
it's
to hang
nothing
out.
to her.
Do you think she gives Jennifer Tilly a little stipend?
Of course, she gives Jennifer Tilly a little stipend. We should make friends with those kids.
Yeah,
and then we get some of their runoff.
Yeah.
Because isn't there a clause that you have to actually spend it on your kids?
The Bethany clause.
Didn't Bethany say that she claimed ownership in the clauses for
Oh
settlements?
God, I bet she has to fucking pay Jason up the asshole every month.
You think Jason gets money from Bethany?
Totally. He
What
doesn't
was
have
Jason-
shit.
What was Jason doing? He was a part of her empire towards the
Yeah,
end.
he had like just kind of a normal, boring job, like finance or something. But then, if I remember correctly, on Bethany Ever After, he kind of went to work for her company.
He became the person that would like have to talk to the distributors about like getting Skinny Girl out the door quicker and stuff.
Yeah.
He like fully like took over operations or whatever.
Yeah, but
Okay,
so I
well-
was just confused about like
Wait, what were you confused about Sutton wise?
just like her talking about the power dynamic and him like withholding allowance and stuff like that. I was like, but aren't you like extremely rich already?
I think she wants to prove to her. Well, okay. First of all, I don't understand why she needs to prove anything to her ex-husband. And is that going to be what she does this season? Like flaunt how successful she is in front of him? Like invite him to events?
Right.
Also, if he was like all blurred out. So
I know.
can you show this person on camera?
Was he on the show before?
No, I don't think so.
Never?
She came in post relationship, and no, I had no idea about
Okay.
that person.
Yeah.
Or that I don't remember.
I don't know.
I think
guess-
it's just I what I felt with this Beverly Hills premiere was it's like I don't know if it's like this for every premiere, if it's this like cut and dry, but it just felt like Sutton's scene, Garcelle's scene, and Erica's scene were like setting up. This is what we are going to talk about this season. This is
Yeah.
the start of our storyline.
Yeah.
Is it always so blatant? I feel like it's a
Right.
little more like ad hoc. Is that right?
Right.
Like this was like Garcelle's going to be talking about her relationship with her sons. Erica's
Yeah.
going to be going through empathy lessons to talk about the victims. You know.
Yeah.
Um,
I did like that Erica talked to her therapist about BravoCon, because I've talked to my therapist about BravoCon.
you have about what? About how much fun we're going to have?
Yeah, I was just like, I'm really fucking busy right now. Like I have BravoCon coming up, and I don't think she even like fully understands what it is, but I wonder how many people on Earth have talked to their therapist about BravoCon. I bet a lot. Probably
I was gonna say,
most of the Bravo people that attend,
Oh, true.
because shit goes down there.
Yeah, you're right. I was going to say like 16 or something, but no, you're right. A lot
Maybe
of people.
outside of the cast members, maybe a small number, like 10 to 12.
Yeah. Okay, so did we get to the bottom? I mean, Sutton is going to prove to her ex-husband that she can make money.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Also, Erica's therapist was like, Tom will die.
I know. I was like,
Or
did you
Erica
have
was
to-
like, Tom is old and he is going to die. And the therapist was like, I think you'll be surprised by how upsetting that'll be for you. She was like, what?
She goes, oh,
She's
God."
like, I just got over it. Now
Yeah.
you're saying that if he dies, I'll be upset.
Oh, she's like,
She's like,
She-
yeah,
I-
bitch, you didn't think about that.
right. Yeah, that was an interesting scene. I don't know what I don't know if if it's going to be received well that she was having to get like empathy lessons from
Right.
her therapist.
Well, she's off Lexapro.
Yeah.
So she can at least keep drinking
That's good.
for our benefit, because the mixture was not a good look
Oh,
when she went off on
Oh.
either Jax or Jade.
That was one of the worst things ever. And then, you know what I really liked that I didn't talk about before I don't know if we're wrapping up on Beverly Hills,
Yeah.
but I like that Kyle stopped her relationship with drinking. I mean,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Mhm.
when Kyle was shoving Sutton 2 seasons ago, when she was drunkenly shoving Sutton, telling Sutton that she needs to listen to Diana Jenkins and don't treat Diana Jenkins like that, like
Yeah.
some garbage that Diana Jenkins was saying. And she was like, I remember seeing it. I was like, why the hell is Kyle shoving Sutton right now?
Yeah.
And then they showed that specifically as
Yes.
the clip that made Kyle like want to turn away from alcohol. I was like, good.
Yeah.
Like that was awful of Kyle. She treated Sutton like shit.
Yeah. That was during that like misguided miscarriage conversation.
Yeah, so we talked about. She was like, didn't believe. She was like, Sutton, you've never talked about that before. So
Yeah.
like, are you just bringing this up now? Like,
yeah,
whatever.
that was bad.
Okay, well, we talked about Kyle and Mauricio. We talked about PK and
Yeah.
Dorit. Damn,
Yeah, we've said it all.
we said it all. So how did you feel about that premiere overall, generally?
It was kind of boring.
Yeah.
But I do love Beverly Hills in general. But Crystal, you sent a meme of, it was like Crystal on the first episode, and it was like she appeared for a blip.
Yeah. Search on Twitter for that meme. It was very funny. It says Crystal's appearance on Beverly Hills in the premiere episode, and it just shows a blank wall, and then it says Crystal blip for a split
like,
second. And I don't think she spoke except in that flashback where her and her husband were talking about how complicit Erica was in the
Right.
Tom Girardi thing.
Totally.
She doesn't say, she's not allowed to say one thing.
No, they should take her diamond away. I also have to be honest. I'm in desperate need of a certified turtle piss break.
Oh, good. Oh, I'm sorry. We're wrapping up now. I mean, I was in desperate need. I thought I was sucking it all up for you. Okay, let's stop. And then Southern Charm, and then
Yes.
whatever else the other shit we talk about. All right, certified turtle piss.
Woo!
And we are
Whew.
back. You feel better?
Yeah, definitely.
I knew. I should have known.
I started to
saw,
panic.
I know, and I saw you.
I was
fill
like,
the-
I can't talk about Crystal anymore.
I saw you fill to the brim, and I wanted to keep talking about Crystal. I'm so sorry.
I wish that we had like, I don't know, like some physical sign of when it was time.
well, I told you I saw it. I saw it. I saw
you
what
let
happened.
me stew in my own piss.
To be honest, I was looking down at my notes saying, where was Crystal the entire time? And then when I looked up, I could tell you were brimming with piss. You know
I
what's
was like,
wrong?
I thought we were done.
You know what's wrong is that because of last week when we didn't do anything, the entire time, we did a 2.5 hour with absolutely
I
no
know.
certified turtle piss. Now we're not doing the thing where we do news, then stop. And then, you
Yeah.
know what I mean? We're just like, we have so much hubris, I guess.
Right. Yeah. My venti coffee hit all at once you talked about Crystal Minkoff.
It hit you all at once.
Yeah. Like a wall.
Well, if you like Crystal on Beverly Hills, let us know. So Amy and I have to talk about it.
Yes.
For those of you who do the Southern Charm Challenge with us, where you wait 1 week and then you listen to us talk about Southern Charm, we are talking about last week's episode of Southern Charm. It was called Family Bonds,
Yes.
I believe.
Yes. It was a sad one.
Very sad, almost from start to finish.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but I was shocked. I remember when this news that happens in this episode came out in real time, and I was confused because, I mean, I'll just say it if you guys watched it or you don't know, Olivia's brother died.
Yes.
But Taylor's brother has also died, and so when there was an implication in the trailer or whatever, I was like, I literally don't remember which person this is about, what order they happened
Right.
in, because it was so crazy. Like once the news hit for whichever one happened second, I was like, that already happened.
Right.
Because as I said last week, I have a little bit of a hard time parsing the difference between Taylor and Olivia, especially like a year ago. So the fact that they both had this horrible thing happen, I was like, wait, no, that already happened. Like, that's not new news. And then I realized it was someone else.
Right. So I can distinguish between Olivia and Taylor.
Okay.
And I knew that this had happened in both of their lives. I didn't know when in filming it had happened or
Right.
if it was going to even happen this season. Because I just thought I thought there would be some warning if we were going to experience this while we're watching Southern Charm. So this came out of nowhere to me. I guess I assumed that they both happened post filming.
Uh-huh.
So I was shocked
Uh-huh.
that because you learned from the teaser, right? Okay. And then now since I've looked into it, and I guess Taylor's brother passed away in June after filming, so that's not
Okay.
going to be a part of the
Okay.
the
So
season.
that hasn't happened to her yet, because when they were talking about it together, I was like, wait, is Taylor going to say, unfortunately, I know what you've been through? And I was like, oh shit, it hasn't happened yet.
It's like awful.
So it's like
horrible.
Austin is the one who knows how it feels because of his tragic storyline with
Yeah.
his sister. So I'm like, holy shit, they don't even know that in like just a few months there's going to be a third sibling.
Yeah.
Like, God.
Yeah, it's horrible. And so that the episode has this sort of like, I mean, even before we get hit with that, which is like the worst thing that can ever happen to someone. I mean, it starts out with like, we see that, I mean, not that I'm comparing this, but it's just the entire episode had this through line of like the sadness that they're all encountering. Like little Craig, like almost died.
my
and Shep has to go to
God.
the vet, and it's like he's like, I almost lost, my dog.
Which I can't believe that it was literally just because of his inbred qualities that he just overheated and almost died.
Yeah.
Like, you guys, I'm sorry, we gotta nix it with the smushed face puppies. They can't survive on Earth anymore.
Yeah, I mean, is that I don't know? Is that controversial to say that some dogs are kept bred, but they shouldn't exist in the world anymore because of.
I mean, it's sad.
Yeah, it's very sad.
Like they were literally just like, yeah, his face is smushed. He can't breathe. He
Yeah.
almost died.
I mean, is it doing a disservice this episode to talk about like the Madison and the Lemonade and the Whitney nudes? I mean, I feel like
Right.
I don't know. It's like it's sort of like it's a very abrupt halt to all of like the Southern Charm
Right.
storylines up to this point, and it's
Well, yeah.
really just.
I feel like they sort of did it. It was actually, yeah, almost every part of this episode was a little bit sad. So like there was the beginning part, which was light, just the
Right.
couple bonding on long distance and whatever. They talk about the full frontal nudes or whatever. But then next it's Austin's parents' house, which I was like, I'm kind of obsessed with his parents.
Yeah.
Like they have the wine, the cheese, they're living in their new house. They clearly like are super close. Like they're
Yeah.
willing to call him out. It's like not even awkward. They're
But-
just like,
But
he's
you can tell how much they love him.
Totally.
They love him so much, and he loves his parents too. It's like really sweet to see. Like
Yeah.
not manufactured in any way.
right. I love when he was like, Olivia's so pissed off at me right now. And the dad's like, should I ask why? And then
Yeah.
the mom's like, oh my God, like you didn't sleep with Taylor, did you? And she's like, go get the other bottle of wine, the French white,
Yeah.
French white. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I want to go, like they were like parents of a friend or something that I would be like, can I live with you guys? Like,
Yeah.
I love you guys.
Yeah, it seemed very sweet that they're in it with Austin. They're like
Yeah.
huge fans of his. Or so. I mean, obviously a lot of parents are, but it just felt like you could see a very sweet dynamic. with
Totally.
them.
And then he revealed to them that he was in therapy to figure out why he treats women this way and why he can't hold down a relationship.
Which is sort of, I mean, like we were acknowledging the pattern, and I'm sure other people have, that the minute things start to get serious with someone, he like does something to completely fuck it up. And, like,
Totally.
this episode is him reckoning with that. And
Yeah.
it ends up having very big ramifications in his life.
Totally. Yeah, he but this was sort of like a perfect first introduction because of course through this conversation his parents talk about the fact that they lost a child
Right.
and that like, we are best friends and that's what got us through losing Kyle, his sister.
Yeah.
And then later when he's in therapy, I thought that was like a pretty decent breakthrough that they were talking about that if he were to settle down with someone in the back of his mind, he's maybe thinking like, look what can happen when you, settle down and take risks and like, look what could happen. Like, it's like very scary,
Yeah. For
so-
me, that was one of the most impactful therapy scenes I've ever seen.
I
on
know. I was
Bravo.
like, usually I'm so judgmental of
Me too.
like reality therapists, but I
Yeah.
was like, well, it does seem like he's going off camera, and then they like did a special one for
yeah.
this, and especially because they were talking about the Olivia stuff, it made it relevant. But yeah, then like this scene right after that, you're like so sad about you're comforted by their family, but they're talking about something really dark. Next thing, Shep's calling his dad Rip,
Yeah.
saying little Craig has 108 fever, and that like he almost fucking died.
For a second, I thought I was like, oh my God, did little Craig
I
actually
know, I'm
die?
like-
I didn't know. I wasn't sure because the way he said it.
I
it was like
know.
he had a huge pause, and he
I
said I
know.
kind of lost him.
That's the thing, like through my own experience and like following animals online and stuff, like with animals, like shit can go, I mean, it can happen with people too, but specifically with like pets, shit can go haywire so quickly.
Mhm.
And so that was really scary
Yeah.
and sad, especially because he was just at daycare.
Imagine getting that call. Like,
Horrible.
Yeah.
And I was like relieved or touched and happy that Shep cared that much.
Oh yeah.
Because I feel like sometimes people on TV, I'm like, why don't you care more? Like we talked about on Salt Lake when
Right.
Monica's dog got lost and she didn't seem that upset about it.
Yeah. There's a huge range on how people like view their pets and like
Yeah.
how much they care about them in their life. And yeah, I fully accepted little Craig's presence in Shep's life, like seeing them, like what he said about how it made him responsible for
Yeah.
someone for the first time.
Yeah,
Like, I
he
do
got
believe
him
that.
when he was 40.
40. I know.
And he's like, wow, like I have to care
Whoa.
for something other than
Right.
myself. He's like, I didn't care about anybody. Trust me.
Right. Yeah.
And then the next conversation is JT and his mom,
Yeah.
and he cries in this conversation too.
Yeah. So there's a show. JT is getting a showcase dedicated to him. I mean, for a
Yeah.
first-time cast member, like he is like solo scenes. He's bringing his mom. He's not even interacting with the cast so much.
Yeah.
They clearly are enthralled with.
Right. Vanita could never.
Oh my god! Could you imagine? No,
They still just
seriously.
use Vanita for her house. On this episode, they're like, "Can we just like have people over at your
Leva
house?"
was like, I don't know, we got to go to somebody's house. I mean, I guess yours. Like, it feels like, I think, did we say it last week that Vanita just, it seems like production is just using her house that's like a location for them. So
Totally.
everything has to happen there. But JT's mom and their relationship is very sweet.
Yeah.
Again, another great relationship with a parent.
Mm-hmm.
I love their camaraderie about, the decorating of the Airbnb and how much she hated all this stuff.
She's
and,
like, "It's killing me to stand here."
yeah, right. Yeah, and then he gets vulnerable after, they do this. I guess they do multiple projects together. This is like, they're like a duo, right? Like,
Yeah.
she helps him design projects that he renovates.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked her shade of, she was like, "The pillows are fine for a fishing cabin." And I was like, "Are those Craig pillows?" They didn't say, but kind of looked like it.
Oh my God. And then he said, "Mom, you're being unnecessary, or Mommy, you're being unnecessarily hard on me." And I think he felt the camera's eye on him. It's like, she's like talking, but she's great on camera.
No, yeah, that was fun. And then we got more blurred out ex wedding photos on this one. He said he got married when he was 22, which is like insane. But he was crying that he didn't want to go through that again.
So he said, I mean, he's establishing that he's ready to have something else in his life now that he's turning 38.
Which I definitely thought he was 40 plus.
He did?
Yes. He does not look 38.
This is a little factoid. I mean, not many people are going to care, but I'm also on the slow climb to 38, like JT.
Yeah. I was shocked. Like, I thought he was like 42.
That it's a nebulous range for men's ages.
He also just dresses older.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Austin. I mean, Austin is younger, but like he dresses younger.
You're right.
Yeah.
So he said, he opened up about his marriage. He was too young, even though he absolutely loves his ex. He didn't say anything. There was nothing horrible
Yeah.
here. The mom agrees. She's like, "I loved your wife,
Yeah.
but you guys were just too young." And then he says he's ready to have a significant other in his life. And I think from the season preview, I do believe he pursues Taylor.
Oh God.
Do you remember that?
I don't remember
feel
that.
like okay, maybe I'm wrong.
But he's definitely interested, or
because he was really, I don't know. JT, I do like him. I think he's a great presence, but he does seem almost too good on camera. Like he's almost like very clearly saying his goals and intentions almost in like a storyline way. Like he's like telling his mom, "You're going to watch me now pursue this, for
Right.
the rest of the season."
yeah. I do like him though.
Yeah, me too.
And then the next scene is sad.
Yes.
It's Pat and Whitney calling, like doing a FaceTime with Michael, her former butler who had a stroke.
Yeah.
And I was so happy to see him. He's literally her like Alfred.
Yes.
Like he was like, "Is that Dolce & Gabbana you're wearing, madam?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Looking fabulous as always."
He was so sweet to her. It was exactly the scene that I think you and I both hoped for.
Yeah.
I mean, we knew she had a new butler, but we wanted Michael, and they gave it to us.
Yeah.
They have this like scheduled FaceTime call. He's living in assisted living in Sarasota, Florida, which is where I grew up.
Really?
Yeah, so I'm thinking
Oh, wow.
when I go back in January, I
Visit
might
him.
I might make him a martini.
Yeah, he deserves it. Were there a lot of olds around?
Sarasota.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I think it is like where a lot of people retire to.
Yeah.
But
What
I
do
don't
they call
know.
those like winter birds or snowbirds?
Yeah, we call them snowbirds. That's what I was calling them when I was like running around the streets of Sarasota. Snowbirds. But yeah, no, it is. It's an older population. I think it's the demographics are changing now a little bit. Like maybe younger people are drawn to it. But when I was growing up, yeah, it
Okay.
has an elderly
Got it.
vibe.
Yeah, he was saying it was the second anniversary of his incident. And it was just really sweet. They were going back and forth. He was teaching Whitney how to make the martini, which I do want that ice bag.
Me too.
Like, I want that just for like Diet Coke.
Yeah, to crush ice in. He
Yeah.
called it a Louis bag, didn't he?
Yeah, there's like, it was a specific brand that
Well, and a huge question was answered for me, which is when the new butler, I forget his name,
Yeah.
unfortunately, I'm sorry to the new butler, but when he was making the martini and he delivers it, Whitney and Patricia, I think, took a big sip, and they did not say definitively whether it was good or not.
Wow.
And then she says in this, she's been living with inferior martinis.
Oh, shit.
So the new butler, the new butler should have been there to learn.
Yeah, totally.
But I understand why they
They
wanted.
should pay to fly him out to Florida to get a lesson.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be an amazing scene.
Yeah.
And then it did seem like Whitney and Patricia weren't aware that they were given that information for the first time, that this was the 2-year anniversary,
Yeah.
at least because there was a little bit of a pause where like they didn't know what to say.
Right.
That felt real.
Yeah.
Like, what do you say to someone
Yeah.
who like says that? It's like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I mean, the whole thing's a little awkward just because it's like the power dynamic is weird. It's
Right.
like he worked for them. Like they were, they paid him. And then
Yes.
now he just has to live elsewhere. And it's
Yeah,
just
but-
like sad.
Yeah, but they handled it well, even with that like awkward blip where they didn't know what to say. I was like, oh, they were being very sweet to him. Like
Yeah.
Whitney said, "I love you. We miss you. We miss your martinis," and he loves them, and
I
it was
know.
just sweet. Yeah, very sweet. Like
Yeah.
a great touching scene. And then when they end the call, you can see that Patricia is very affected by losing Michael and the fact that this happened 2 years ago. And she says, like the theme of the episode, she's like, you never know when things are going to change. So,
Yeah, like-
embrace life every day because you never
Totally.
know when it can change. And then it's like the rest of the episode encapsulates that.
Oh my
theme.
God. Yeah. It's like I didn't realize until I looked through my notes that every scene was sad. Like every
No, yeah,
single one.
It was. There was like one moment of levity, and then everyone was impacted by something hard. And then I
Yeah.
think the next scene is Leva and Vanita going to meet, right? Is there?
Yes.
Yeah, Leva and Vanita going to meet Olivia for like a scheduled event. I assume that the original intention of this scene, they all got call times for
Yeah.
it. I assume the intention was for Olivia to distribute the information that Austin had kissed Taylor.
Uh-huh.
Taylor and Austin had kissed.
Yeah.
So, and Leva and Vanita do not know this information,
Mm-hmm.
but they're trying to call Olivia to say, is this still happening? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure, this was very scheduled, but they can't get
Yeah.
a hold of Olivia. And then they're talking about it at dinner. They're sitting down. They're ready for a cast event.
Yeah.
Like this is going to be a scene.
Mm-hmm.
And they can't get in touch. They start to get worried. Leva's legitimately, worried that she
Right.
hasn't gotten in touch. And then they call Taylor. And then that's when Taylor calls back. Like they're in the middle of talking or whatever. Taylor calls back, and then Taylor has the news that they haven't heard yet. She thinks that Leva's calling her because Leva had heard,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
And then Taylor lets Leva know because she's on speaker because they
Uh-huh.
don't think anything can be
Right.
that horrible that Taylor's going to say. And Taylor's like freaking out,
Yeah.
so upset. She
Yeah.
says, I heard from someone reached out to me. I forget what the name of someone,
Yeah.
like Irving or someone reached out to me and said that, did you hear the news that Olivia's brother Connor had passed away? And then Leva immediately takes it off speakerphone because she's like, what the, I'm not letting this out on
Yeah.
camera if this is not something that needs
Right.
to be like disseminated right now. And then you watch her real reaction to what happened, which is like horrifying to
Yeah.
see. I mean, we only see that very rarely
Yeah.
when someone reacts to someone's death. Vanita also hears the news. And then they immediately do the right thing, which is like, we want to stop filming immediately. Like, we are not going to carry on a scene where we just heard
Right.
this horrible news.
Yeah. Whew.
Yeah.
It's dark.
Very, very dark.
Yeah. And then the next day, it's Austin, like in his kitchen, clearly had been like sobbing for hours.
Yes.
And he calls Taylor, which you're a little like, ooh, like.
I wasn't like that at all.
Well, I mean, you're just like, Olivia would be like, cool, like now you call Taylor to like cry about like my misfortunes.
I mean, in my opinion, everything falls away.
Sure.
Like every. No, I know what you mean. It's like in the prior incarnation of Southern Charm, you would have had this like, obviously, but then it's like nothing matters anymore. It's like the whole pretense of the season just is dropped.
Right.
And Austin is grieving, like
Totally.
going through it. He is so upset and he is so conflicted about how he can go about this with the new, with his relationship with Olivia. Because
Right.
he wants to be there for her, which is
But yeah. Taylor's like, you need to go over there and show your face. And then later, Craig is talking about it. He's like, whatever you do, don't fucking go show your face over there.
To me, the power of this episode, because it was very, in addition to being horrible and sad, and I don't wish that any of it happened, obviously, at all, but the power of this episode for me was how people react and deal with grief of someone in their friend group, of someone that they love, and the different conflicting ways people feel, the different things they do. Like, Austin literally got the exact opposite advice from two people, and he had to make his own moral decision based on how he felt. And if we're just talking about it, this through line, Olivia loved it. I mean, I'm getting ahead of it a little bit, but you see, once Olivia tells the story and recounts how Austin went about this. Like,
right. I mean, I feel like when in doubt, just do the straightforward supportive thing,
Right.
not like, well, I didn't like want to, piss you off or whatever. It's like, obviously she cares about him. Obviously he specifically has a tie to this scenario. Like, I'm like, bringing someone a care basket is never going to be an insult. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, but then there was like, I mean, I'm not like, Craig gave bad advice, and I love Craig, but that was bad advice.
Yeah.
But I do think that everyone in this instance gets some, like, I don't judge anybody's actions in the wake of death, because everyone reacts differently.
Everyone did something nice. Like, Shep offered his apartment, which Olivia said was like a huge help, because her family was coming to town and their neighbors. Craig was making a lasagna, which I feel like sending food is always clutch.
Yes.
The girls sort of like rallied around and like gave her a place to come be comforted. Austin brought her a basket or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like she had a lot of support, which was nice.
Yeah, very sweet. And I do like that Austin went with his heart and decided to be brave and not consider that that she said that the sight of him made her want to vomit, just a day ago, and he decided to pursue it. And then you see that Olivia was so touched by that gesture, like lit up and smiled. And I just thought that was so sweet that it really nothing matters in the face of death. And I thought it was so sweet how they rallied around her.
I liked how there was that sort of like flop borderline drama of like Leva and Vanita.
Yeah, let's talk about it. 'Cause I think
they were deciding of like who they were going to have over, whatever. And they were like, I don't know if we should have Taylor because of like their drama or whatever.
Vanita said that.
Yeah. And
Leva was couching her opinion. I don't think Leva thought that was the right approach at all. But Vanita gives that justification of why she's disinviting Taylor from being in a comfort space with Olivia.
And Taylor was basically like, bitch, like, I'm friends with her family, like, we go way back, we're really close, like. And then Leva just like takes the phone from Vanita, and I was like, that I know her family too. I'm like, it's not a fucking competition, but ultimately it's the main weird thing is that it's at Vanita's house.
That is weird, but so again, Vanita's reaction to this news is like, I found it to be abhorrent. But also, I don't blame how she felt in the moment, that she thought Taylor might. She said that she doesn't want Taylor to talk about Austin, like that she would bring up Austin at this in this comfort zone where they're gathering together. Like, it's just such a horrible read of someone's behavior. And then I did kind of like that Taylor was like, I think Olivia would appreciate having me, her actual friends around, basically saying that Vanita and Olivia don't know each other at all.
Right.
Like, they're actually not friends.
Right.
And then Leva just discounts Vanita not inviting Taylor and just says, get over here. Because that's the right thing. It's like, this is not a moment to talk about petty grievances or what you think Taylor's headspace is going to be. And then I'm sure that Olivia she did value Taylor being there.
Yeah, totally. Also, quickly, the scene where Craig is cooking the lasagna and Rodrigo comes over, and Craig's just like flopping left and right. The bottle is corked. He can't open the bottle of wine. He uses a can opener, and it's like, I was like waiting for him to like chop his finger off. I was so scared. Rodrigo was like looking at him like, Jesus Christ.
What's it called? It was like a comedy of errors.
Yeah.
It was like a Charlie Chaplin routine. He's talking about the most morbid, sad stuff and what he's going to do, and then he just like cannot get the wine. The wine's pouring everywhere.
That was a total mess. And also, we've already seen him injure himself before, so I was like scared.
Kyle said that his finger is still like limp from that knife accident.
Well, he like severed a tendon.
Yeah, I really like Rodrigo. Just the little glimpses we're getting of him. He's just
Yeah, he seems like a solid dude.
Calm but fun,
Yeah.
funny. Like I liked that little scene with him and Craig.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it was sweet.
Okay, so then Olivia shows up. They've made her gluten-free chicken nuggets. They talk about her gluten-free a lot. Craig also made the lasagna gluten-free.
Yeah. I think it's just because like so much food stuff is coming up. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're definitely learning that she's gluten-free.
But yeah, it was really sad. She's talking about like how her parents have reacted. They showed a clip from 2 weeks prior
man.
where she was FaceTiming with her brother, which is like so dark.
I mean, and also, I mean, dark, but then also like I couldn't believe how like transcendent it was for like, I mean, it was like sweet. It was like he was like, I'm passing on the torch to you or whatever. Like it actually seemed so symbolic and beautiful, that conversation. Like I felt so lucky, or I know she was lucky to have that last conversation with her brother. Like I'm glad it was something meaningful and sweet.
Totally. Yeah, that was really sad. And then, yeah, straight into more sad is the Austin at therapy. He's talking about, you know, how he's probably met 2 or 3 girls that could have been the real deal.
Chelsea.
Yep.
Do we consider Madison?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, he was obsessed with her.
Yeah, Madison, definitely Chelsea. I mean,
Yeah.
Chelsea was one where I was like, why are you stirring this up? Like,
I
Chelsea's
know,
one of the...
she was a slam dunk.
She is like one of the coolest, nicest people. Like, I don't know what the hell he was thinking with that. I really think that's
And she was
one
like
he
chill
regrets.
too. She like wasn't asking for much.
No, she was great. He just like, he flopped so hard on that one. So yeah, he's like addressing why he doesn't want to get more vulnerable with people. Why he gets to a stage where he's hot and heavy, and then just like does something to completely screw it up.
Totally. Yeah, but he was like, maybe my purpose here is to show her that like time can heal and that, you know, she'll get through this or whatever. And it was sweet.
It was really sweet. It is like, yeah, maybe that's my purpose, to show her like what time, you know, can do to move forward. And it was beautiful. I mean, Austin, like I have been thinking he was a little stinker the last 3 episodes. But the fact that he's addressing this within himself, and the fact that he stood up and did the right thing despite conflicting strong conflicting advice, I just thought it was so sweet of him and brave. And I thought that therapy scene was impactful. I was just like, I think he really learned something there, and he really wants to grow.
Yeah.
And
it was like a heartfelt episode, and then it's like coming up next week, and it's like, I saw your vagina, bitch.
sword fight.
It's about like full frontal nudity.
It's like they are like okay, now Southern Charm has to be fun again. Like after we just got this like huge emotional like powerful episode, and it's like, yeah, they're back to normal.
Yeah.
Which is fine. I mean, the high and the low. Like I was very, you know, this was like what Bravo can do so well. You know, like a thing like this was so, in my opinion, treated so tastefully. You know. And this represents real life, and it's horrible and unfortunate, but I think we learn things from that.
Yeah. I watched it yesterday at the library because my cleaning woman came over yesterday, and so I have to exit my home for many hours.
How many
sorry
hours
to brag.
I mean, I'll be honest.
It's my favorite thing I spend my money on. I could be like on the brink of bankruptcy and I will still pay.
Okay. I have so many questions. First of all, yes, that's a brag. Second of all, how many hours does it take?
Well, it's just one woman and she takes a long time and I'm too loyal. I'll literally pay her till I die. Like I would never swap, but she takes like 5 hours.
5 hours. That's a long time. I told you. I mean, if you ever need a place to go for 5 hours, you know, please.
Yeah.
I'll house you if the library says we're closed or whatever.
Yeah.
But I agree with you completely. I do not have someone who cleans my home, so I find it to be one of the. But I do, like you. If I had even any amount of money with some leeway there, that is one thing I would pay for, because a clean home is such a luxury.
It's glorious. When I open the door and it smells like pine sol and bleach, it makes me so happy. She makes the bed like a hotel bed. Like I could never have it tucked as tight as she gets it. And I try to maintain the tuck for as long as possible, whereas Jimmy will just throw the cover off, and I'm
That's-
like, no. Like I'm like a tamale in the bed
That's Jimmy
for like
for
a
ya.
week.
He seems like a total bed.
no
bed
reverence
sheet, no
for the tuck.
reverence. Rip them off through the.
Friar untuck,
What's that?
like Friar Tuck.
Oh
from
right, he's
Robin
kind of like
Hood.
that. Was Friar Tuck? He was the one that had that hair just on the top of his head, right? But bald all around.
Was he like a bear in the animated?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of traditional friars where they're like,
But yeah, they
have a
wear the
little
like
circle-
brown
yeah,
smock.
oh yeah. Well, what I was gonna say, if Sutton, oh sorry to cut you off. I
No.
know what friars are, but
I just have to say that I have to bring up a Sex and the City reference every week. And one time, Samantha wants to fuck a friar, and she calls
friar?
She calls him Friar Fuck.
no, she doesn't.
Yes, she does.
Can I look? Does he have a?
If you look up
traditional-
Friar Fuck, it'll come up.
I can't search friar fuck.
It'll come up.
It'll come, you promise? If I search friar fuck, the only result
Definitely.
will be
He's like a beefcake.
Oh, that's awesome. I try to do a Sopranos reference every week, but I don't think I'm going to be able to get one. Let's hope that one comes out.
I like have a disease where I have to bring up Sex
No,
and the
I mean, I
City.
have a Sopranos disease where I want to. I was going to say, if Sutton does give us generously $10K a month each, I would use that to. He does have the traditional friar hair. It just looks like it's overgrown. Wow, so no errant search results came with that?
Well, there was also a second. There's a movie that's mentioned unrelated called Throbbing Hood.
Well, is it the type of film that I think it is?
I think so.
Wow, you got to be careful with those searches.
I think Stone Cold Steve Austin is in it.
Oh, then that can't be a film of pornography.
I don't know.
Well, okay. What were we talking? Oh, yeah. I just wanted to say that Sutton, if you did give me money, you could rest assured that I would spend it on a cleaning person to come to my house. So
Yeah, it's I love it, and I will do everything I can to maintain the ability to do that.
I would too. It's one of the things in life worth paying for, like moving companies.
Yes,
You know
definitely.
what I mean? Do you pay for movers, or you haven't moved in a long time?
I've only moved like once.
It's one of the best luxuries that you could ever have in life, because
Yeah.
moving is like it's like the fourth. They say it's the fourth most stressful thing you
It's
can
like
even endure in
death.
life.
What else? Divorce.
Death, divorce. I think moving
Moving.
is like 3 or 4.
Yeah, I literally will live here forever because
I'm-
thinking about moving is terrible.
I'm proud of your home. I mean, it's beautiful.
Getting this couch, you guys, getting it in and out of this place is no fucking joke. It weighs like 500 pounds.
I can tell. I mean, it's a beautiful couch. I sit on it every week, and I love it. But I can't imagine the toil it took on you to.
I
put
got it reupholstered in like 2020 or 2021. So they had to get it out and then get it back in. And it was absolute agony.
I'm sorry. That's horrible.
Okay.
Well, speaking of couches, something that houses have,
Winter houses?
specifically winter houses. Well, yeah, I mean, do you want to? We did Southern Charm Justice, right? I mean, that was a
Yeah.
hard episode to talk about, but
Totally. I
Right?
thought it was really good though.
we did good personally.
Yeah. The reason I brought up that I went to the library to watch it was
Oh.
just that I was like, it was funny watching it in public just with headphones because I was like laughing and like crying and I was
Yeah.
just like totally enjoying myself. And I was like, people are probably like, what the fuck is she watching?
I always like seeing people at libraries who watch stuff.
Yeah.
Did you cry?
I don't know if I like had full stream of tears, but definitely like, like welled up.
Yeah, I didn't specifically. I didn't cry, but it definitely was emotional. But I don't think any tears came out. But it was very sad.
Yeah. But during the Austin and his parents scene, I was literally just like, I was like, love you guys.
That's sweet. Do they make you wear headphones?
Yeah, I was wearing my AirPods.
Oh, okay.
I love the library.
Me too. I love the library. I love it so much. I don't get to go very often, but I have Libby, which is sort of my library surrogate on my phone.
Have you read? It's called The Library Book.
No.
It's Susan Orlean.
Oh, it's about the Great Fire that took over
Yes.
the Los Angeles Library.
Yeah, you should read it. It's fucking great.
Really?
Yeah. It's like also just about like libraries at large
I
and
do love
LA.
libraries.
And it really makes you appreciate the concept, period, and what effect they have on our community. and it goes into all these different corners, like historically, and it's a fucking great book.
It's one of the best things we've ever done as a society.
Totally, which is why whenever it's under threat, I'm like, I will chain myself to my local library if they try to defund them.
Who does try to defund?
All the time. You know, books are under attack in general.
Oh, right.
The library, if people think it's like frivolous, unnecessary.
Could you imagine? They provide so many services that people don't even know about.
Told you, if you're in LA, 10 color printout pages per day you can do.
It's amazing. Canopy is one of the most... Okay. Okay. Generally, up front, I got to ask you. People want to know. Are you excited about Winter House being back? Oh, no.
I think by the end I was.
Okay.
But when it started, I was like, there's too many goddamn people here.
Yes. Okay.
Even the title is Lover Boys, City Girls, and Yachties. Oh, my.
Who are the city girls? Danielle and... what's Danielle's
Her
friend's
friend
name?
that like went
Casey.
to bed at 10 p.m.
Casey. They're the city girls?
And Jordan, I guess. From...
Oh,
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And then the Lover Boys, we know who that is.
Yeah.
And then the Yachties.
Yeah. They're fun.
Yeah, I liked it. Okay, I liked everyone. The first 7 minutes are what came out first, and I watched that first, and it was a little slow going. 'Cause
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know half of you.
Right.
I don't know half of you. But and it also it's like it's so much about the house and them getting there, so you're watching them like unpack and get used to
Right.
the house, kind of like how Summer House is, I guess.
Right. I will say, though, so at the very introduction, Kyle arrives with Corey because Amanda is at like a bachelorette party.
Yes.
And Kyle, I love Kyle. He's my king. But having him paired with Corey is not a good look.
No. And I want to say, I think I thought I wouldn't have liked Corey just from what I saw of him, but I felt like the Bravo universe was sort of like trying to get me to like him, and like
Yeah.
the relationship with Sam, and I felt like people were positive towards Corey.
No.
But I'm done pretending. I don't like Corey, and I don't like Kyle in association with Corey.
No, I was like, if someone was watching this for the first time, they'd be like, look at these two assholes. And I'm
Yeah.
like, Kyle is not like that.
He's just approximating Corey's behavior when he's in proximity with him. No, it's like, you're right. And then at one point, Corey is like, I'm like, one thing nobody's ever said about me is that I'm nice. It's like, you're not nice. So you're a horrible person. You're an asshole.
I did like that the Yachties were like, toxic alert. Like they were just kind of like making fun of him.
But I also think his persona is like a facade.
Yeah.
I think that he has a toxic energy that he wants to perpetuate. He was very non-existent this episode. I think because he is in a relationship with Sam and he doesn't want to cheat on her on camera potentially.
Yeah. But he probably will.
But I think in there's a teaser for the season, and like someone goes up to him and starts like making out with him.
Right.
I forget who it was.
I think it was Katie.
It was Katie?
I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone that they brought actually, that was a new addition, I actually liked.
Me too. Yeah, you want to go? Let's go through them.
Sure.
Okay,
So-
Kyle, we love.
Yes.
Corey.
Boo.
And also, I resent that he is now a staple of Summer House and Winter House. He
I
like
know.
really got the fast track to being like a full-time cast member.
I know, it sucks. I'm against it. Then Danielle, and then she brings her friend.
Danielle, I'm so glad that we've had like the Danielle renaissance that people
Yeah.
are probably having. I mean, I know people hated her, right?
Yeah.
But whatever. I view Danielle so favorably now, from my Summer House,
Yeah.
that I think I just love watching her on Winter House. Like she's one
Yeah.
of my favorite cast members to watch.
She's fun. If anything, I'll say she's taken a tumble in my eyes that she stood by Hub's side after everything that went down. I wish she would have stayed strong.
I said it before. It's just indicative of her good personality that she's someone that
I know,
can
but
forgive.
She's going to need to have a Kyle Richards moment in a few years and say, you know what? Why am I always under this bitch's wing?
Oh my God, we didn't talk about the Carl and Lindsay update.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't. Do we need to? I mean, I can just say it very quickly, right?
Sure.
Wait, what was the update?
They both went
Oh.
to the premiere party separately, but I heard on Dumois that he went for like 10 minutes at the beginning to support the producers, is what it said.
To support the producers.
Like he was just like felt like he needed to like
Be there. Show
whatever.
his face.
I'm sure they're all at this point friendly with the people that make the show.
Right, for sure.
And then Lindsay came like as he was leaving. So
Okay.
they were like never there at the same
And
time.
then Kyle offered his take, which is, so take it with a grain of salt. This is the Kyle
Yeah.
opinion, but he said that Carl and Lindsay got to the point where they were in couples counseling for their entire relationship. And also they had individual therapy sessions. And he said in his opinion, it got to the point where Carl couldn't address anything communicate with Lindsay without a third party outside of these, a lot of therapy that they were doing as a couple. And so they had these communication issues. And then it got to the point where Carl realized that he couldn't go through 50 years of not being able to actually communicate with Lindsay properly.
Yeah.
And I think Kyle said on Watch What Happens Live, first of all, he said that he wasn't so shocked. He was shocked that anyone would make the move to cancel a wedding because it's one of the hardest things you can ever do.
Yeah.
But he was not fully shocked that this relationship ended.
Right. He said he had a front row seat to the cracks in their foundation.
And Craig has said this. I feel like Paige has said this.
Yeah.
We've already said it, but Summer House is going to show things that we're going
I'm
to
excited. I think I'm more excited for that than Vanderpump.
I think I am too, because Vanderpump, unfortunately, from the behind the scenes shit I saw, looks very contrived.
Yeah.
And Summer House feels like we're gearing
Lightning
up
in
to
a bottle.
Lightning in a bottle. And then he also, I forget what he said. He also said that he doesn't think that Carl went into that conversation with Lindsay wanting to specifically break up, just wanted to confront things on camera.
Right.
And then
the conversation went so poorly that by the end he broke off the engagement.
And we know from Lindsay that no offense to her, but she does go, she gets
down.
She gets more aggrieved by something, her fights, I guess, hit her a lot harder. And I can imagine a world where that happened, where it just spiraled out of control and they started fighting. And then Carl made this big decision, and then they never got to talk about it again because it hit it hit all of us and it became a minor scandal or whatever. So,
totally.
Yeah.
Also on Watch What Happens, they talk about the Austin Taylor Olivia situation, and Kyle Cook says to Andy, he's like, remember it came up at BravoCon, you asked them and they denied it? And Andy was like, no. He was like, you literally asked them and they denied it back then and it had already happened.
Kyle knows. Yeah, that's great.
And I'm like, put Kyle on a panel. Like, he is so great.
No. Yeah, he would be amazing. And then as these people, we're ranking Malia and Katie, great.
Yeah, they're fun. We have Brian from Family Karma, who is fun. Jordan from Summer House, Martha's Vineyard.
Yeah.
And Alex from Below Deck, a man who is horny. And then Schwartz comes later.
And Brian's horny too. I mean,
sure, but he's way less aggressive seeming.
Yes. So I love Alex and Brian's relationship. I have not seen a duo like that in a while. Friends like that. Their camaraderie was so fun, and I didn't know them at all. I didn't know, their history or whatever. I love that they had that I don't know. Their relationship was very close, which is always great to see.
Yeah.
And then Casey is Danielle's friend, who I think they just had a +1 to Danielle, and she decided to try someone out.
Right.
But Casey didn't seem to be too interested in the
yeah, she's kind of
party.
Just a bonus person.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they do a whole Scandival seen in the headlines moment.
Yeah.
And they review that.
So this is March 10th.
Yeah.
March 3rd is when Scandival erupted.
It's literally within 1 week.
So yeah, so they are talking, the way they're talking about Scandival, it's it brings me back. I already feel so removed from how we felt in March.
Yeah.
It's almost it's interesting to go back into that mindset and just remember what a explosive event this was.
How huge it was.
Yeah. And I love that they captured Schwartz and the other cast members in this time capsule of a moment that we'll never live through something like that again in the Bravo universe. It'll never hit that hard.
Yeah.
And and we get to see all their reactions. Malia and Katie have no clue what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
Brian barely knows. Kyle isn't you can see that he doesn't doesn't care about Schwartz's involvement. He's still a fan of Schwartz. He's more neutral in this whole situation.
Yeah.
And then Danielle is, defending Katie.
She reveals she's friends with Katie Maloney.
Right.
It's funny, when they show them all having photos with each other, it's you guys clearly met at either like Watch What Happens Live, a party, or like BravoCon.
Yeah, Kyle goes, yeah, Malia and Katie are coming. They're great. He goes, I met Malia in New York.
Yeah.
And then they show it's like
Yeah.
he only met Malia like right after Watch What Happens Live
Yeah.
or BravoCon
On
or something.
Bravo, whenever anyone says in New York, it means either like a reunion,
Right.
Watch What Happens Live, or whatever. Okay, so then they all do shots, and Alex does the cheers, and he says he's like, snakes. What does he say?
Well, first of all, it's great. It's like everyone gets in the house. It's their first shot together. Then Brian goes, which was very funny. He goes, Alex, why don't you say that toast that I love so much that you love to
He
say?
set him up.
And then Alex says, to rattlesnakes and condoms, 2 things I don't fuck with. And then everyone takes a second and then basically just groans.
Yeah, they're like, what the fuck?
It's like the most muted response to a toast ever. He like instantly looks bad. But
I know. I was like, who says that?
But it flopped so hard it was funny.
Yeah.
I gave him credit.
he is flopping throughout. Like, it's almost like he has to flop, otherwise it'll be too scary.
Right. He's got an endearing persona that I think that I guess you're right. I don't know. I'm conflicted about Alex because I don't know what the hell he's going to do the rest of the time. But
Yeah.
from this initial outing with him, I just thought he's horny.
Yeah.
He says he's extremely sexual.
He sleeps in the nude.
He was voted most flirtatious in high school.
Yeah.
And then I felt like I felt like this toast was intentionally awkward.
Yeah.
Like just to be kind of funny, and it really set them all back.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. More to come on him, I guess.
Yeah.
Danielle updates us on Robert.
Oh man.
Saying she was like, I want to have fun at the winter house. I don't want to think about Robert. And she said, fuck Robert. And I was like, no.
Robert, I'm so
We love Robert.
We love you, Robert. I am so sorry. And then I can say it now. She also saw him in Aspen like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago because he now works in Aspen, and she held out hope that they could possibly get back together. So she's just coming down from another potential thinking that her and Robert might make things work.
Yeah.
And he said definitively, I don't think this will work out.
Yeah.
So Robert, I'm so sorry. If you want to talk about it on Turtle Time and give your take on it, I felt like Danielle's fuck Robert was just sort of like, someone who was just hurt by it,
Right. For sure. Because we love Robert.
Yes, we love Robert.
Yeah. Corey keeps saying that him and Sam's relationship has no label on it. And I feel like,
keep saying it.
yeah. And everyone's like,
Because they go around the room, right? I mean, we're almost there, right? They have a
Yeah.
dinner, right? A barbecue dinner. Looks great. It was just delivered by Bravo. Like,
Right.
someone just ordered it.
there were just massive boxes outside.
And then Malia says, can we get a read on what's the single status of everybody?
Uh-huh.
Kyle, still married,
Yes.
right?
Yep.
And then everyone else in his house is single,
Yeah.
except then they linger on Corey. And he says what you just said.
Yeah.
We're not definitively boyfriend and girlfriend, right?
But
And
then they like keep showing montages of like that they're together like every night, posting their, like film camera photos of them biting each other's tongues or whatever they do.
And then Danielle, yeah, exactly. Like lighting each other's nipples on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
But then Danielle says in her confessional, I don't know why she doesn't say it out loud. I guess not to call him out, but she says that it makes her upset that he's referring to Sam like that because she's witness to their interactions
Right.
and how close they are.
Seems like they're together like constantly.
Right.
I also liked, well, this is a little later, but when they go to bed, it shows a text from Sam to Corey and she goes, hope you had a good night. And he writes, for sure, sleep well.
Yeah. I read that as I think Sam was potentially very nervous about Corey and them going into the house together and how the relationship
Also
would be defined.
rude that she wasn't invited.
Well, I think, no, she just gets a later call time or something.
Okay. Well, she does
comes to
visit
that-
later.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Yeah. But I don't understand. How many people are visiting?
I know. They have like 1 billion bedrooms.
It's like Captain Sandy's going to come up and say, wake up, everyone. And then, like, there's like so many people coming. I
know.
can't
They have
even-
more space than ever. Like some people are getting rooms to themselves, even though there's 2 beds. And I'm like, in the summer house, they're like fighting for space.
Yeah. So they really set to partying. I mean, this first night, like, not a lot of stuff, like, happens except just full-blown party energy.
Yeah. Snowball fight.
Yeah. Snowballs, chugging drinks.
Kyle's pissing in the snow as always.
Yes. And then Alex decides to take a shot right? At some point, he's drunk as hell, and
right.
Kyle gets drunk. I mean, within like 2 minutes, Kyle goes from like a normal Kyle to like drunken, pissing Kyle. Alex decides to say, Jordan, will you come to the hot tub with me? And then he's drunk. He was drunk.
Yeah, he
as
was
hell.
like blackout.
He goes, but within 1 second of sitting in that hot tub, I forget what he says. He goes, I'm shocked. You're so beautiful, shockingly so. And she goes, what are you going to do about it, right?
Something like that.
And he starts to just do the slowest advance.
Talk about like a snake.
He was like slithering towards her in the hot tub.
She just like watches him the whole way and then turns her head when he gets very close and is like,
full blown denial. She goes, no, no, no. And he goes, you're fucking torturing me. And it's just like it's so ridiculous because first of all they set it up like I really thought they were gonna kiss because Winter House has such sexual energy.
Right.
And the way they teased it, I was like, whoa, first night or whatever.
I loved on Watch What Happens they showed a countdown. The Watch What Happens 5 was hot tub moments, and I forgot about the time when Sierra, Andrea, was it Austin and Sierra?
Yes.
All were getting down, like on the verge of fucking in the hot tub.
It was awesome. And Kyle goes, I just walked into an orgy right now. That was great. So I thought it was going to have that energy. I don't know why, I would assume. And then, he gets shut down so hard. They all go back in. She goes, I'm going to bed now.
Yeah.
And then on her way to bed, Brian is like, I don't know if it borders on creepy. I'm sure people will find that to be creepy or whatever. But I did like Brian's ham-handed attempt at flirting with everyone.
Yeah.
Like just trying his shot with Malia,
Yeah.
with Katie, with Casey. Then he finally gets to Jordan. I don't like that. I guess he like creeped up on her and confronted her as she was going into the hallway or whatever.
Right.
But it just seemed like a drunken, shitty attempt at flirting or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why he ever thought that he should go in a kiss.
I know. That was like crazy. She was just like, nah. And he was like, all right.
And then she goes, what the hell is happening right now?
I know. She's like under attack from every angle.
Yeah.
And then I
mean, I guess that's bad. I mean, I guess that's bad.
I mean, I feel like I can't tell if it's just me that I feel like the show has become desexualized over the years. Because I feel like
Winter
before,
House has?
or / Summer House, like I feel like it used to be about like hooking up and like whatever and like who's going to get with who. And that's kind of like the whole point.
Right.
But this one, they very much were speaking that way up front. Like, we're all single. Like, who's going to fuck who? And it just feels weird to talk that clearly about like just wanting a conquest.
Yeah, I more thought it was just like odd and like very like way too fast for Brian and Alex to like try to, like they think they're going to the hookup cabin like you just talked about. Like this is going to be like a
just wait
Friday the 13th movie and everyone hooks up immediately. And I like that Jordan shut them down both. I think it just was I don't know. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it's just like weird when they're like which ones are you gonna fuck? And they're like, clearly she's the hottest. And I'm just like, what are we talking about here? But then Brian, it's funny when he tries to flirt with Katie and calls her an ogre.
Like, I think I
tried to
Malia.
do the okay.
Yeah.
Tries to do a Shrek reference.
Right.
So, yeah. And then day 2 is when Schwartz is gonna come, but he doesn't come till the very end.
Right.
But they ask Kyle, they're like, how is he feeling, what's going on? And he said, Schwartz says this melodrama has quite a hold on him, which is like clearly a direct quote.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He just read the text message verbatim.
Yeah. And then Jordan is telling all the other girls about how she tried to get like both guys tried to mac on her and they were all like, what the hell?
Yeah.
No way. And then the tubing looks fun. I want to do that.
Me too. Yeah. And then Alex has a talk with Danielle and he uses almost like the same flirting strategy with her that he's doing with everyone. He's like, you're so powerful. Like I'm almost like blinded by your power. And it's, I don't know. For some reason, I guess I haven't seen flirting in so long. And it's so funny to see a desperate guy flirt or not desperate, but a horny guy flirt. But then I'm like, okay, wait. Is that why we watch Winter House? I'm like kind of like questioning my own view. I mean, do we want to see people hook up on this show? I mean, I guess that isn't the
but
point.
Like more organically.
Right. It was a little too.
Like when Carl and Paige would hook up in the pantry, like that just happened naturally.
It was more earned. But like Malia and Katie and Danielle clearly want to hook up too, and I feel like Danielle and Alex end up, hooking up.
Right. There's drama there for sure.
Yeah.
Also, in case we were wondering, I looked it up, and the first season of Winter House was 6 episodes, and the second was 9.
Okay. And
So
we
we'll
don't-
see how
we don't-
long this one
wow.
is.
Okay.
And then we get Schwartz talking about coming to town. He looks tired in his confessional.
Yes.
He said that him and Sandoval had planned to come. It was like this was going to be their big gift to themselves after Schwartz and Sandy's opened.
Right.
And when he gets to the house, he gets on the floor and kisses the ground.
Yeah. I mean, I thought just remembering what it was like to be in Scandival territory and what that probably felt like for him. I mean, he was getting, he was just as vilified almost as Sandoval at the time. So I do think I understand why he's like so happy to be out of there for at least 2 weeks.
He said he felt like he was having an identity crisis.
I also, controversially, I now can barely get in the mindset to when we were all hating Schwartz. No offense to all of us, but we don't as a society feel that way anymore, right?
I think some people do, but probably generally not.
Right. Yeah. I'm just it's interesting to go back to it and
Right.
feel those feelings and how he felt about it. Because I remember, he was hated, very hated. He
Totally.
says, I feel like a side character in someone else's movie.
Yeah,
Which is true.
totally.
But now I don't feel like culturally we feel that way about him at all anymore.
No, he'll always weasel out. People just love him, including me.
Me too. Yeah, he's just so charming. And you can watch in the scenes coming up, it's he's just so charming to everyone. And I'm sure Danielle ends up fully on his side by the end of this thing.
Talk about desexualized. He definitely doesn't try shit this whole time. He's just milling around the house.
Right. Yeah, but isn't there a scene where they show him going into the bathroom with Katie and she throws
The
out her bra?
Yeah, maybe so.
Yeah.
Maybe so.
So I don't know.
Did you see on Watch What Happens that Andy asked Kyle to rate Sandoval his singing voice?
Yeah, 6.9.
Yeah, he said that he rises to the occasion.
Yeah. I think that was a diplomatic answer.
Yeah.
6.9 is kind of low.
Yeah, fair though. And then he gave they asked if he thinks Carl regrets breaking off his engagement, and he said 0%.
Yeah. I figured that because it's just such a hard thing to do, and he's already confronted the worst of it. It's why would you ever go back once you've already done it?
Remember how planning the wedding almost brought Kyle and Amanda to the brink?
Yeah.
Remember he was like, I'm dealing with other shit right now. He was having a full mental breakdown planning his wedding. Imagine a month before just scrapping it. After all of that.
And we're going to see all of that on Summer
I
House.
can't wait.
Yeah, I'm
I
excited.
literally, if anything, Winter House has just got me excited for Summer House.
And I think that these are the shows we're going to be watching until Vanderpump and Summer House are back on.
Yeah.
Until the golden era is back.
Yeah,
So,
usually when I was looking up the episode order, they usually run till end of the year.
yeah.
So then in January or February, we'll have Summer House and
Okay.
Vanderpump.
And we clarified our feelings on Winter House enough.
I think so. I think it was okay. I think it'll be fun. It's really just light,
It's
you know?
Yeah, it's supposed to be, Summer House, like you said. Summer House originally was people letting their hair down,
Yeah.
metaphorically, blowing off steam.
Leaving the city,
Leave-
their 9 to 5.
And hooking up as
Yeah.
a friend group going and letting the party take over you and come what may. What's the expression? Let what happens happen. And you're right. It became more of Vanderpump Rules where these are established relationships and they're more they're less party oriented. Winter House is trying to bring that single party energy back.
Yeah. At first, I was it really felt just like a vehicle for them to push the shows that they
Yes.
want. But I think it might just shake out to be fine.
I felt the same way. I was like, don't push these people on me that I don't want to see. I want Craig and Austin and Sierra and Paige back. But ultimately, when I just met Katie, Malia, Brian, and Alex, I'm glad to know their personalities. Even Jordan. I was like, I like Jordan too.
Yeah,
I'm glad you introduced me to these people.
totally.
So it's just if I guess they have a good casting barometer, they know who's going to work well.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, should we make our final pit stop at the snoozorama that was the RHONY reunion part 1?
Yeah. So do you agree? with the world and with me that reunion part 1 was a snooze slog.
I mean, like we were saying, what would they talk about?
Mm-hmm.
There was nothing to talk about.
Yeah. So I thought that this was 54 minutes, and I thought this whole thing could have been condensed to like the introductions or the first part of a typical reunion. I felt like it was elongated to a full part because I don't think anyone could imagine a world where RHONY only got one part. It would be admitting that this was a full-blown failure. Yeah. Right? Yeah. I mean, if the first season gets one part. So I felt like in the need and desire to make this 2 parts, they really had to pad this thing out with almost 30 minutes of inconsequential shit that had nothing to do with the actual season and what we witnessed.
Right. Yeah, it was kind of just like, I don't even know what the hell they said. Like, it was just like they went through Erin's shit first and they made her whole package about her sex life. Like, it was just like her and her husband commenting on sex life. And I was like, that's what we got from her persona.
Yeah. And that wasn't really like the thing I took away. And if anything, I don't really want to know more about Erin and Abe's sex life. I mean, she was like, and Andy was like, well, Erin, you've got it hard. You have to satisfy all your family and you have to satisfy your husband. And it's like, and they show Abe. And it's like, they show all those clips.
Scared.
He's like, I want sex. I want sex.
Yeah.
Blowjob should be on the regular.
Yeah.
I need it. I feel bad for Erin. I need it so bad. And it's like, please stop talking about this.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. And then just every like 7 minutes, Uba would like interject some shit from the side and be like, Jenna Lyons is a fucking bitch.
Will Andy address all of these side bombs, as he called them?
Yeah.
Will he address that Uba said that no one wanted Jenna on the show, that Erin, Cy, and Bryn didn't want?
She she couldn't help herself. Like, they showed that Erin works with Frederick Eklund from $1 Million Listing.
Right.
And they're like, he's just like you saw on TV. and Uba goes, unlike Jenna Lyons. And you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Jenna's like, excuse?
Okay, so it was like Uba had 6 things she wanted to say, and she didn't know properly reunion etiquette of when to say them, because Andy specifically said, we're going to get to that.
Right.
But what did you think? So Uba hurled an accusation at Jenna. That Jenna is not who she appears on camera.
Right.
I felt like Jenna's response was very ambiguous, not very clear. I didn't really understand what Jenna was saying. And also, to me, it was a rare opportunity for Jenna, who has had no conflict and nothing really going on for her except advertising her love scene eyelashes. She's wanted to stay out. She finally got one thing given to her from Uba, and it like landed like a fucking thud. Like, it's just like, what'd you say? She's like, I'm a I understand that you can be a victim when I'm powerless in these situations, but still also be powerful. It's like, all right, I don't know what that meant.
Word salad.
To me, it did. Did it read like that to you?
I mean, I just wrote down Jenna miserable.
Yeah, she hates it. Let it come in. He let her off the show.
It's like she's been called in to like testify or something.
Yeah,
like, she's
I thought even with this very clear accusation that like you could rebut in a snappy way or a fun way or do something with it was just like I don't know, it just like died on the vine. I don't really know what you said, Jenna. Is it true or not? Are you very powerful? Do you treat your employees like shit and then you're going on claiming you're a victim? Do you do that baby voice all the time that Bryn accused you of and then they edit it out to make you look better? Like, it just was like one thing. I felt like Jenna could have a moment, and she just it was just like what she's done in the past.
She was completely mute the entire time. And then also just the fact that they brought up the cheese thing again, that needed to include evidence, which was a podcast segment, which I was like, is that the first time that someone's played podcast audio from their phone as evidence? I feel like it's usually written evidence.
I mean, and Andy permitted it.
I know. I was like, oh, she has it queued up.
And then, we still, we still don't understand it.
I don't give a fuck.
Erin, I don't. It's one of those things. I don't care, and I don't. Wow, I feel like Sai.
I know.
I don't care.
I don't
but
care.
If you're gonna keep talking about it, I still don't understand it. I still don't understand. At all. What happened? Erin said that Sai made fun of the cheese, even though she said she didn't, and then it's over.
Yeah, it's just like not worth anything. Like it sounds like Erin was like repeated it saying that she was like, is this all you're gonna have? And then it sounds like in reality she said like, will there be food or just snacks? You know, the Jenna stuff about her mom was sad, slightly interesting, but not really.
Well, yeah, I think that's a good way to say it. It's just okay. Yeah, like I'm sad, and I actually liked that Jenna offered, like she said, I was kind of on autopilot because this horrible thing did happen right before filming. Like I understand,
like a month,
but I also feel like Andy let a lot of leeway for stuff that was outside of the show to be a part of this reunion, because there wasn't a lot to work with. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah, like that's the thing is like everyone's thing that they have, like all they have to work with is their like trauma from the past, which you know is real and could be interesting, but it feels like all we have, like it's like not necessarily like relevant to the show.
Yeah, and also it's like it's almost, I don't know what this, I forget the word, but it's like it makes me feel like I am responsible for liking it because of what they're
the
offering
serious
to me.
Topics.
Like I feel bad. It's like it's like Oscar bait in a way. I'm like, man, I want to talk shit about this reunion because it's so boring and I didn't like this season at all, and this is just exactly what I expected. But then you're also talking about how horrible everything is, and I feel bad. I'm like, I'm sorry, I have to learn that, and I feel so bad for you all.
I know.
But is that what we're coming to for as an audience for this season? Is it helping us get past things? I guess if that was in addition to a very vibrant, fun, entertaining cast, like if Ramona told us that, you know, her mom had died in the off season and we were dealing with that, but also there were the highs. I just feel like Andy is making us sort of like feel bad that we would dismiss this important show.
Sure.
Do you see what I mean?
Totally. Like it's just sort of like bogged down in these emotional areas that I don't know. It just it feels like a different show.
I feel like Brynn is completely, you know, flopping on her alliance with Aaron and Sai, and is like just kicking them to the curb now that she sees the tides turning on Jessel, and is pretending like she was never a part of the Jessel bullying. Right. Calling her forgettable, talking shit about her behind her back, talking shit about Pavitt, I'm sure. Right. She even kind of talked shit about Pavitt, I felt, when she said, oh, Pavitt's like the 7th housewife. I sensed some like shade in that.
Totally. I did like, though, that out of the trauma stuff came, so it was like, Jenna was crying about her mom, then Brynn was crying about her family, then Uba was crying about her mom, then Sai brought up her mom and was saying that, you know, she comes off as like harsh because she, you know, she revealed that she says that she's broken inside and doesn't want to share that with people and doesn't want to like get emotional around women or whatever. And Andy was like, how's that working for you? She was like, I think it's working. And he was like, okay. Yeah. And I was like, yeah. I'm like, you need to like work on that because it's fucking awful to watch.
Yeah. What did you think when Brynn and Sai are feuding because of the Connecticut gate or whatever? What about when Brynn said, Sai, I can't hear you from all the way down there?
That was funny.
But it was funny. But Brynn is only one seat up from her on the other side. It's not that big of a difference, in my opinion.
Yeah. I was listening to Sai on Keep It, the podcast. And Ira asked her, he was like, were you surprised when you saw the seating chart? And she went, nah. She was like, there's 6 seats and I got one of them. I was like, sure. Yeah,
right. You haven't thought about that at all?
Sure.
Yeah.
She always does that. She goes, nah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, like I guess you want people to care about something.
Yeah,
and like,
she always just acts like she doesn't care. And I'm like, you just revealed you're broken inside. You admitted it. You admitted it.
Right. What did you think about Andy probing Jessel about the fact that she potentially moved for the show because the timeline like syncs perfectly?
That was interesting because if anything, that's a blight on the production.
Yes. Yes. I was like, why is Andy asking this? First of all, I assume he knows that. I think Jessel had been on a short list for a lot of different cities.
Right.
And, or, you know, Dallas, potentially LA. They liked Jessel.
Yeah.
And then finally when New York opened up, they're like, do you want to move to New York and be a part of this cast if it works out for you?
Yeah.
But why is Andy calling her out for that? It's like you are trying to break the fourth wall on your own casting decision so that she'll admit, and then you're making her look bad for like defending production to try to keep the secret for them.
It was weird. And then she was saying that her twins were born in LA, and then they realized they need to be closer to family, but her family lives in London. So then he's like, why don't you move to London then? And she was like, we'll see. And then he goes, are you waiting for Real Housewives of London?
But it was so mean for him to be like, why don't you move to London? Like, why don't you leave this show that you're the best cast member on and go to London? Like, it was like, I didn't understand what, I guess in his defense, or if I'm trying to create a defense for him, it was such a topic of the audience and he wanted to do his due diligence and make sure he brought it up, but he's the wrong person to be voicing those opinions because it reflects badly on him and on Bravo.
Totally.
If she moved specifically because she was casted on the show.
And like, I think it was Bryn that brought up like a good point where it's just like, yeah, like if you can move for an opportunity, like if you don't mind moving and you're like, I can do my business in New York and actually it is close to my parents and I'll get this income stream, then it's like, that's not that like juicy of a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Andy, do you want Jessel to move in second season? You got that cast without Jessel. Like, would that be, you think that would be a good decision?
Right. And then they're just still giving her shit about her sex life.
But then they're also saying, we never said anything.
Right.
We never insinuated that Pavitt cheated.
Right. Well, first that Sai says that, but then she goes, I'm just saying, like, from the outside looking in, it just feels like you guys don't have a connection, which is like so fucking rude.
Yeah. Yeah. But then also like, I'm, you know, ride or die for Jessel, but then also I which I said this last week, Jessel's like, I feel like husbands are off limits. Like we shouldn't talk about a relationship. And I just don't agree with that at all.
No, that's dumb. But what she did do, which was golden, which she should have done sooner, was bring up the capital P word postpartum because it's like, fuck you bitches. You don't support women.
Yeah.
How fucking dare you? You don't know what I was going through physically, mentally, or otherwise. Like, you guys are skanks.
Yep.
And go fuck yourselves.
Yeah. She got them with that. They look bad. They're also, they're retracting their statements. Like they are trying to look less bad surrounding everything about Jessel.
Yeah.
At this point.
Also, when they were talking about Jenna and, you know, that she was brave on camera for, you know, bringing up her disorder and all that, when Bryn was like, yeah, you're like over here like popping your teeth out, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, that was just, all these conversations are very weird.
Yeah, it was hard. It's hard to, it was really a mess. And I feel like, I don't know if we're like winding down, but finally as Jessel starts to get, you know, starts to get activated against Aaron and Psy, finally, it's like as she's starting her, you know, argument against them, like the episode ends, and it's like, so part 2 is really all we care about because we get the, you know, this showdown between Jessel and Aaron and Psy, and it should be Bryn, but Bryn for some reason was good at throwing stones and hiding her hand. Right.
Yeah, it was interesting that it was revealed that Psy like didn't talk to Bryn this whole time leading up to the reunion, and Andy was like, what about all the photo shoots and stuff? She was like, yeah, no, she like did not talk to me.
Right.
So it was funny that she then just apologized, and then Bryn like sobbed because she was like, I've been waiting like a year for you to apologize. But yeah, did you like Pavitt's TikTok?
Yeah, it was awesome. Oh man, it was like exactly what you said. He like brought out the like unassailable great PR move or whatever that's called. Like it was just perfect.
Yeah.
He did his full like why he loves to fly first class, which I didn't even know. You were a huge advocate of why it's awesome.
Totally.
And I didn't even understand it. It was so cool.
No, I mean,
and he flipped it on him.
Yeah, that especially that level of international first class, I'm like, yeah, I would do that for if I got a bargain fare for sure.
And then also his love of food is now makes so much more sense because it's like when they were calling him on the fried chicken council or whatever, it's like, no, he's the Street Food Association. He's a foodie.
Yeah.
And he goes to Vietnam specifically to like try because he knows the food culture there so well. It was like a Anthony Bourdain, you know, type of thing, which I thought
RHOBH should do a collab with him.
Yeah, that'd
like
be-
Pavit's peanut
I mean,
sauce.
next season, if they are for some reason permitted, everyone is going to be trying to get on Jessel's side. I mean, she's
Yeah.
going to be the victor of this entire thing.
Totally. Yeah. So, also just that quick comment about when Bryn says that she's heard Sai talking shit all over town about her being like a whore and not knowing what her job is or whatever. And she goes, "You know what my job is. I signed your contract for a Vino baby." And then Sai's like, "In 2017." And I was like, what does that mean? Like, what? Like,
Yeah.
huh?
I said it.
There
I
was
go-
an Avino baby contract in 2017 that Bryn worked on probably the client side, and then Sai did a spawn for them.
Yeah, that was just one of those things that was thrown out where I just didn't understand because it was so unstructured what was going
Right.
on. I also don't believe that Sai was calling Bryn a slut and a whore behind the scenes.
Right.
I mean,
But you never know. Sometimes she snaps.
maybe. I guess.
But yeah, that's about that.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if Sai said anything else good on Keep It, but she was kind of just like not owning anything. She was saying that people need to give them a chance because it's only been one season, and that she thinks that they're a perfect group
A perfect
to
group.
move forward.
So she does want to be on the show.
I guess.
I mean, she does. I mean, I know Aaron does more than anything. I know Bryn does more than anything. Jenna does not.
No.
Absolutely not. And I really didn't think Sai was having fun on the show.
I feel like I will strike me down dead if Jenna signs on again. Can
She-
you even imagine?
She can't. I mean, it's the worst of both worlds. She doesn't want it, and I do feel like the audience is starting to say, I don't know if this is the best fit for Jenna, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we're not in the minority saying that, are we?
No, I mean, we talked about this before and posted it on TikTok, and most of the comments agreed. Some people say, like, disagree, love Jenna, or some would say, like, love Jenna, but
Yeah.
not for the show
Love Jenna.
or whatever.
We love Jenna too. It's not a slight on her humanity or her
Yeah,
personality. It's just there are some people that just their personalities don't read well and they're not good in this type of environment.
Do you
She's
think-
conflict averse. She doesn't want to be
Right.
in these situations.
Right. And it seems like she is still fragile from like everything that's been going on in her life, and she just gets kind of like upset whenever anything
Yeah.
like trying happens. And I don't know, do you think that her Bethany clause was better negotiated? Because it doesn't seem worth it to go through this hell if they're getting like the Bethany clause 50% or whatever.
I think that they still have authority or whatever, written approval to where they can cut them down. There's probably like the amount of scenes they can show it, or like
Right.
1 or 2. There's probably some stipulation of how much it could be seen, but they can also cut it down. We know that from Bethany. Like, they didn't have a percentage of her business, but they cut her down specifically so that she couldn't just advertise all the time.
Right.
But if I was Jenna Lyons, I would not think that the love scene arc was powerful enough to justify being on this show.
No. Like, I didn't buy that shit.
No, me neither. And I forgot about it, and it was just so too few and far between. And I also think it's like, why am I supportive of someone who specifically said they went on the show to promote their business?
Right.
That's not fun.
No.
Like, I'm
Yeah.
not like that much of a capitalist that I love to see someone promote their business all the time.
Right. I bet they wanted her so bad that they let her negotiate
Why?
like a chunky, nice deal for herself, because she was like, I will literally, the only reason I'm doing it is
Yeah.
for that. So
I'm
she
so-
probably red marked that contract like up
Yeah.
the asshole.
I'm so removed from her personality apart from this that I just like I do not know her from anything, and I just couldn't imagine the decision to cater to her, to beg for her to be on, and,
Right.
and permit anything she wants to get her on, because like ultimately, what did she give you?
Right. I mean, I wanted to know more about when she was advising Uba about whether or not to go public with her hot sauce. I'm like, that's like the only thing that like I want to know about Jenna Lyons is how like what her
offering.
business prowess is. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because she's not giving us anything personal.
I'm not a huge, like, I don't really find that much joy in their business, but I guess, yeah, if she's going to offer something, it would be cool to her to use that business acumen maybe to help Uba.
She should be on Shark Tank. Like, Bethany was.
I know. I said it last week. I could see her on any other show, and I would probably like it. You know, like it's just in this environment. I feel like we know what works and what doesn't, and I just don't. And also, I just like you said, I can tell she's miserable. She doesn't like it.
Yeah.
So why would you want her to do it?
No.
Andy also gave her credit for being. He said the first person to wear jeans, or the first person in 100 reunions to wear jeans, and he forgot about
The OC Housewives.
right.
She brought that up on Watch What Happens. She was like, actually, if you watch the
really?
first Orange County reunion, which is in Vicky's backyard,
Right.
and
With
they're
no
wearing
Andy.
right, they are wearing what they called sky tops,
Oh, right.
those like satin halter tops with bejeweled
Yeah.
halters with jeans.
Right.
So she couldn't even get that title.
Right.
Did you watch Luann and Dorinda?
No,
on
I don't know
Watch
what
What
the
Happens?
hell I was thinking. That would have been my dream. I just didn't. There was just so much.
You
for
should
us to-
watch it on
Okay.
Peacock. But they go, "What do you think about Jenna wearing jeans to the reunion?" And Luann's like, "One must dress for the reunion."
Oh wow.
And,
Okay,
like,
good. All right.
Dorinda's like, "Maybe different jeans." Like they were both like, "Nah."
Whoa. All right. Good. I'm glad they were honest about that.
Yeah, and they were like bickering the entire time. It was very funny.
Was Andy so gleeful and beaming to be in their
Yes.
presence that he regrets everything he's ever done in
Maybe
his life?
Ramona was in the audience too,
I-
and he was like, "You guys are aging in reverse."
Each time he has a powerhouse from RHONY on Watch What Happens Live. He also had I forget who, just 6 months ago or whatever, that he was.
Probably Sonia and Luann.
Yes. So yeah, he was blown away by their power. It's
He was
like, Andy,
obsessed with Crappy Lake.
yeah, it's like Andy. Yeah, you did this. This is what you lost.
Yeah. I mean, at the very least, he could have just stuck with the legacy and reboot idea. Like,
He should have. I mean, no.
we're going to have to see what this girls' trip is like, too, because that's coming up. Oh, God, when is that on?
It's like in December or January. We
Okay.
got a little bit of time. All right. Well, what did we do? Good. Was this good?
You guys, are we good?
Was this? Come on. Hey, we don't get any more positive feedback. What the hell? You know who's a good community? I've been meaning to say this. YouTube community.
Ooh,
Um,
love those comments.
We get wonderful comments on YouTube. So, well, we get one. Oh, I mean, our Villa Rosa VIPs give us the best comments
yes.
in the world. I mean, those are the best. But YouTube, I didn't even know. For some reason, I don't think of us as on YouTube. But I love being on YouTube, and I love
Yeah.
those thoughtful, wonderful comments.
Yeah, I love the comments. And also, like, when I go to the Patreon, I'm like, I would join this page anyway
You say that?
to myself.
You do?
Like, don't you think it's fun? Like, I would
Oh.
want to be in there.
Oh yeah, yeah. So it's great, but give us positive feedback. I mean, we still need it. If it's negative feedback, bite your tongue.
Keep it.
Keep it. We cannot. Amy and I both. We can't hear anything.
We're on the
negative.
brim of freaking out at all times.
Absolutely. This is a one-way system. Income's good, nothing out or nothing bad out. What's
One
that called?
time, someone commented on TikTok that we have bad taste and it shows, and I hear it in my nightmares.
Oh, it was worse. For some reason, we got on the RHONY lovers TikTok algorithm, and we were talking shit about RHONY like on episode 10. And they were like, "This is one of the best shows of all time. You guys are boomers, and you're old as hell, and only young people like this show." And it's like,
I just
oh,
felt
no.
like they were calling me ugly. Like I was like,
Yeah. And I looked at myself in that, and I looked personally like complete shit. And I was like, okay, well,
I know.
get
I think it was the time we were like so hungover, and I was like, we do look like shit.
No, I looked at it, and I had ice on my head, and I wasn't speaking. My eyes were closed.
We were like hungover, and it was like 105 degrees outside, and like
Yeah,
I was like,
I mean,
you know what? Fine, you don't know us like that.
to be honest, I'll grade myself. I honestly, and I don't want you to say, you please don't say anything bad, but I honestly felt, I'm sorry to say, I felt a little tired today. We had some good moments, but I felt like under the weather. So I hope it still was, fun and had merit.
I think BravoCon next week will give us a boost.
Yeah.
Or we'll be just really, really tired.
But at least we'll have anecdotes and fun.
Totally.
And I think we adhere to the model of one for them and one for us.
Yeah.
And this one
Maybe-
was for us.
Maybe we can do some sound clips on the ground
Yeah.
in the moment that we can play
Oh.
and do sort of like a review
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah,
in
like a
2
little
weeks.
some like a
we're
This American Life.
We're here right now, and Kyle Cook is at the bar.
Yeah.
And we're gonna ask him if he'll do a shot with us.
Yeah, he cut off his mullet, and his new haircut looks amazing.
Andy loves his mullet,
He does, but I thought he was kind of saying like, when will the mullet end?
but he was like, it does look great.
Yeah,
you
he
know?
said it looks great in person.
Yeah.
But I felt like Kyle and everyone in his life is saying like, how much longer will this last?
I also like that they're doing a tease on Winter House of a pregnancy test when we know goddamn well that that's not happening.
Right, that is a huge detriment to shows that like are 6 months old.
Yeah.
It's just like,
I was just like, well, I don't need to worry about that.
yeah, not at all. Okay, well, what B- this episode? A
6.9.
6 point. No, we can't get that. That's way too low.
8.5.
8.5. All right, good. Okay, okay. We love you so much. I mean, I don't think there's anything else to say. Come on, we recapped everything, and we provided what insightful takes.
Goddamn near 3 hours.
Yeah, near 3 hours. And Amy and I love you, even when we're at our wits' end. It doesn't mean that we don't love you any less. We love you so much.
Yeah.
And then next week we have one more episode in real time before BravoCon, right?
Yes.
One more.
One day before.
like
Well,
the
it'll air next Friday, which is the first day of BravoCon.
So what we need to be very adherent to talking about how when you hear this, we'll be at BravoCon.
Yes.
You know what? We also didn't talk about how scary this month is at all. We completely
know.
dropped off all monster talk. Next week is going to be
true.
like a Halloween episode.
It'll be past.
It'll be November 1st.
Yes.
Okay, well, whatever. Well, we'll talk about monsters
Second.
next week because a lot of people have been saying they've been talking about Frankenstein and their favorite monsters or whatever, and I kind of feel bad to let them all down. But
Did you hear Trump talking about Silence of the Lambs?
yeah,
He was
said-
like, Silence of the Lambs.
yeah, he said it just like that, and he said that Hannibal Lecter is a huge fan of Trump, and I was like,
The killer himself,
I was like,
not
does he-
Anthony Hopkins.
yeah, I was like, does he like that Lecter likes him?
Lecter is a coastal elite,
Erudite.
don't you think?
Yeah, he's kind of. Well, a huge part of Lecter's sensibility is that he gets offended by people who are uncouth.
Yeah.
So is that sort of why Lecter? Which interview did Lecter give that was around 2016 to promote Trump?
I don't know. He's like from beyond the grave. Like,
Well, he's not.
make America great again, Clarice.
Why would he? Okay. Well, you know what? I don't want to.
This
Let's
is
think about this.
The Hannibal Minute.
I'm just wondering what interview did Trump see that Lecter specifically pledged his allegiance to Trump?
I don't know. He also was talking about whales, but he, instead of thinking about the country, he thought it was about whales in the sea.
Who?
He's all turned up,
Trump is.
turned around.
Well, speaking of scary, you just scared me to my core. So,
It's time to go.
all right. Well, we love you. It's 2 hours and 57 minutes. We can't belabor this to 3 hours. We love you. What else to say? Can we promote? We already promoted our Patreon. Oh,
Yeah.
I know one thing to say that needs to be talked about. If you're on YouTube, sorry, the garbage cans are, the garbage people are here, but we have beautiful merch right now. Look on YouTube.
Yeah, we'll post all over social media as
Everyone,
well.
go on YouTube right now. Look at Amy and I. I know you want to see what we look like today. And look at our merch. Amy is wearing the beautiful, wonderful Kristen Doty. This thing is the bestseller. I said it
Yeah,
last
for
week.
sure.
This thing is like far and away the bestseller. Frank Catania. I don't know where people's love is for Frank. We've only sold about 2
Bottom
of them.
seller.
Bottom seller, but I love Frank. If you want to support Frank, get this shirt. But anyway, look on YouTube. I think these things are fun. I think it's one of the best things we've ever done.
Yep, we've got also Craig, Dorinda, and Jiggy.
Jiggy.
Yep. So go buy some merch so that we can buy drinks at BravoCon next week, because otherwise our account will be underfilled.
Underfilled for sure. And also, if these things do good, I mean, there's no limit to how many Bravo celebrities we can put on a shirt. I mean, you might be wondering why the hell we chose these first 5. Well, get ready.
Are you a little afraid of running into one of them while wearing it and for them to hand us a cease and desist on the spot?
Yeah, I was definitely worried that they would be like, am I getting any money from that? But also, I thought...
I would do a licensing deal with one of them if they promise to promote.
Me too. I'm making a lot of mic sounds now because I'm getting comfortable. But I assume if we do go up to like Frank or Kristen and we're wearing these, they might just think that we're wearing bootleg shirts that were created. And
you know what we should have done? It's the way when you leave like the Hollywood Bowl or the Greek or any concert, how the bootleggers are outside with the janky T-shirts that are sometimes better.
Oh, and yeah, and cheaper. And what's the difference really between a shirt? Like
we should have just bought like a large quantity and just hawked them outside of all the panels.
You know, my shame barometer, I am somewhat shameless, but even that to me is, I think, a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't like to sell stuff.
Well, please buy these shirts, you guys.
But contrary to that, I am, contrary to that, please, for the love of God.
They are conversation starters.
They're fun.
So beware.
They're fun. I'm not even, I think this is fun to support Frank Catania and Kristen Doty and Jiggy.
Totally.
Well, you said it couldn't be done. 3 hours? How could Amy and Riley ever do that? But we did it. We love you so much. Sleep good tonight. 1 week until the next episode, and then it's BravoCon time, and that'll be powerful. Okay, sleep good tonight. We love you so much.